major. We've got 8 incredible teams, 3 days of incredible action, and 1 trophy. We've got rookies, we've got underdogs, we've got former world champions, we've got high pressure, high expectations, we've got it all. And this is where it comes down to the money, right? This is where it all comes down to if you guys are ready to make some noise. So are we ready? One more time. Quarterfinals. Do you want to bring out some teams? Let's get this action started with your first quarter-final. Let's bring out the teams. 4 years ago today, this team you're about to meet won big here on US soil. And now, they're back to do it again. It's Team Liquid! And their opponents, a team assembled from superstars. But will the stars align for them here in Charlotte? Ladies and gentlemen, it's G2! Lads, please shake hands. This is it. We've waited for this very moment. Back to you on the desk, Doa, baby.
Oh, thanks, Ian, baby. We call each other baby. It's true. Oh my goodness, it's time. Team Liquid versus G2. Can't wait to get into this first series. There was like an excessive amount of like fist bumping going back and forth. I swear they did it like 3 times or something like that.
I mean, these teams have a lot of history.
Sportsmanship. That's true.
They've been against each other time and time again here at these international events. Of course, not from the same region, but it sometimes feels like it, the way they've played against each other so many times in the past, Fresh.
Yeah, I mean, Ian referenced it. 4 years ago today in Atlantic City, Team Liquid won. That was against Penta that then became G2. That obviously it's different rosters, but these two go so far back, you know, to the beginning of Siege, it feels like.
It's been a long time for these two squads,
yeah.
But still, the major's been out of reach for them. Liquid, they won that Atlantic City LAN so long ago, it feels like it's not relevant at this point. And then G2, it's also been a long time since they've won anything, so they're hungry for something in Charlotte tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the player history, of course, but there's also the organizational history, or there's a fan history, right? The fans remember. Before we go any further, though, let's take a closer look at our 2 teams in this first series.
I'm so excited to face Liquid in the playoffs. Last time I faced them in a major, we beat them, and I hope I can do it again.
I think it will be a great match. They are a new roster. They try to bring a player from Brazil to try to get their roster better, but here there are 5 players from our region, so I think that we're gonna beat them.
I'm ready to beat them again, and I know that they are really afraid of us.
All right, Team Liquid versus G2. Let's focus a little bit on Liquid first. What's the #1 thing they're going to need to worry about facing this G2 squad?
Well, the thing is, right, G2 are definitely going to be coming in from the underdogs. I think Liquid are looking very good in this matchup.
For sure.
The reason why I like Liquid so much here, partly is because of that opening pick factor, Doa. They've been so good throughout the group stage so far of getting that first one into the building, getting that first pick onto the board, and really starting things off big against G2. The thing is for G2 as well, I mean, they have been no slouches on their own end, converting those rounds into a lot of those victories. They've been very, very strong, and 80% conversion rate from G2 means that they're winning 80% of the rounds that they've been able to get that opening pick in. So although Liquid have been good in that realm so far, we need to see them continue on in that path and being a strong team, because otherwise that's going to really run away for G2.
I think the two people on Liquid that I'm most impressed with is Ask and Resets.
Oh,
Because they
100%.
came into Six Invitational as like these rookies where we didn't know where they would be at. They had an okay Six Invitational, and that was the kind of tournament where we said, right, we'll give them that, they've got that experience. Now they need to live up to Liquid standards, this Liquid expectation of the org, of the fans, of everybody else. And they're doing that at this tournament, you know. Ask, he's plus 13, Resets, he's plus 11. You know, sometimes playing the more kind of supportive roles as well. They're stepping up this tournament. That's a big reason why Liquid are doing well.
Well, I think Ask is a player that, like, sure, he is a support player. He does play smoke. He plays that hard breach, right? But that doesn't mean that he's passive. He often likes to jump in, get a little aggressive early. Something that I've really seen from him this year is on smoke. He is getting an opening couple of kills. He's been there forward against the opponents time and time again. We're seeing him push forward and be able to make those opening couple of engagements. And some people don't like that. I think it's fine to be aggressive and getting into gunfights early as smoke. You've got to be careful you don't die before your utility gets used.
Right.
But even still, I think Ask has done a really good job, and as long as Liquid are trusting him to kind of get into those early gunfights and they're okay with him doing that, I think he's been a huge help for the squad.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like you said, too, the organizational history, right? I mean, wearing that horse, right, on your jersey, that means a lot. This is a website that's over a decade old, started way back with StarCraft, way back in the day, have had stellar players across so many different esports titles. So when you put on that jersey, you're representing an esports legacy that goes back a long, long way. One of the longest in the gaming world, really, right? So you got to perform. Thankfully, Liquid's been doing that. Getting to the quarterfinals is great, but you want to take it one step farther, obviously.
Yeah, and I think their expectation is to win it. Yeah, that's
I was
what
going to say, not just one. Yeah.
I've dubbed this match like the match of expectations between both of these teams in terms of the teams want to win it, the orgs want to win it, the fans want them to win it.
Of course.
That's the bar with these two teams. They're not happy to be here. Obviously, one of them has to go home. But yeah, especially for Liquid, there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
One thing that Liquid did really well throughout the group stage was their defenses were phenomenal. They've got the second highest defensive rating of any team at the event throughout the group stage, 67% win rate. And a big reason why they're doing so well on defense is because of Palu. He's been one of the best defensive players in the entire game throughout his history, but specifically at this event as well, a 1.43 rating on defense. He is never out of position. He's always there with the squad, getting those opening couple of kills if he needs to, rotating around with the other roamers, working with Nesk, working with Resets, whoever he might have to on that roam to try to make things very difficult for the attackers early on in the game. So I'm looking towards Palu to have a really big game today and bring it home for Liquid.
How have we not even spoke about Nesk yet?
Go ahead.
That's
Also,
how
be my guest.
That's how well Liquid have been doing. Like, Nesk is plus 17, right? He's having a sensational tournament. He's Liquid's 4th best player, according to rating. Like, the team is just, it's so, it's their aggressive ideology, right, of playing for gun skill, playing for, you know, it's not necessarily as objective focus as we might see coming out of, you know, Dark Zero or Team One or somebody like that. It's very kill hungry. And as you say, you know, peeking around on smoke. And it's sometimes when they're on top of it and when they've got the momentum, you feel like you can do absolutely nothing against this team because there's just another guy there, another guy refragging it, another guy shooting you.
Yep.
And these guys don't miss as well.
Yep, and I mean, I don't want to just mention 4 out of 5. PSK as well. A lot of people, you know, maybe don't talk about PSK as much as they should, but I think he's a really solid member of this team. He's been on Liquid for a long time now. He is that kind of second support, really core member of the squad that helps keep things running on the inside. So even if he's not the flashiest player, his drones are there. He's able to help with the comms. I think he's going to do a big job here today against G2.
Well, speaking of G2, let's dive into that team a little bit more here, because this is a team, again, has a lot of expectations on it. A lot of good G2 squads out there doing big things in other esports very recently, even within the last 24 hours, if I do say so. But so this squad has to measure up, right? But coming into this one is a little bit underdogs, like you mentioned, Jesse. Like, what are they going to need to do? What are they going to need to improve on that we saw in groups to be able to go toe-to-toe against a team like Liquid?
I think G2 are really going to need to be good at cleaning up the roamers on their attack. You know, this is something that G2, as a squad so far throughout this tournament, has been not the best at. They're a perfectly average team. They're a team that really proves that you don't have to be extraordinary to make it to the big stage. They got a 50% attacking win rate, a 50% defensive win rate. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. They're here and they're ready to show up against Liquid. Now, maybe that won't be enough today, but it could be. And I really do think that G2, you know, they have been relatively consistent throughout those stats. Obviously, they have their ups and downs, but I think that they do have a good shot here.
Now, obviously, I was in this team, so I'm going to be a little bit of a shill for them. But
course.
there's two things.
Fair
right?
enough, fair enough.
This roster is brand new for stage 1. It's, you know, it's full of superstars. Don't get me wrong. They've brought in Alamau, Doki, Prano. They've just picked the best player from other rival teams and bought them. It's an absolute bought team. But they're still working through, and I think they've got a bit of an ideological kind of how they see that they want to play the game, because you've got Prano, who's kind of super plant focused. He wants to go for the plant, play the game kind of quote unquote properly, whereas Alamo's just like, yeah, let's go Ying, let's throw some Calendellas, let's play Monty, let's play Ossa, let's do something crazy, which is a real strength for G2, because it means they can flick on a switch how they want to play the game, be unpredictable, but it also means that they have this kind of desync within ideologies in the team, which is why you see like kind of moments from them where you think they look terrible, and that's why you get moments where you think they look amazing, and it's kind of, you kind of hit them perfectly average, but that's between like half the rounds being 100% perfect and half the rounds being, you know, 100% horrible.
I think there's one big thing that really separates G2 away from all of the 7 other teams at our playoff stage this weekend, and that's got to be looking at the most powerful operator in the game right now, Finka. G2 are the only team coming into the top 8 of this event that don't have one kind of permanent Finka player, and the reason for that is because they love to ban her out. Most teams don't think it's worth the ban, but they have to play her because she's so strong, so they'll have one dedicated, really Finka player. G2, not only do they tend to ban her a lot and thus have to play other operators, but even when she's on the field, they do kind of flex around who's going to be playing her. Sometimes we saw Doki on that operator earlier in the group stage, then we saw Citizen picking it up a little bit later. I got to be honest, Doki looked much, much better on the Finka when they were playing with it compared to Citizen, who I think in general has been struggling on attack so far this tournament. He's 20 and 24, which Citizen, I mean, it's Citizen. Why is he negative? That shouldn't be happening at any level of competition, but certainly here at a major, that's where you want to see it the least.
And I think that Finka point is a big part of their problem, in that all of these players in previous iterations of their, you know, previous teams that they were on were ultimately the player for their team. They were the star man for the team. If they wanted to play Finka, they would. You know, you think of Citizen back when he was on Na'Vi, even on this previous iteration of this roster. Doki when he was on Na'Vi last season. Prano back when he was on Secret. You know, he was the crouch walking Sophia main. He's the hard spot of this team. Virtue all the way back on Fnatic. I know that was 2.5 years ago. Same kind of story. So it's kind of like, that's their problem, I think, with G2. And I don't think they're yet to find an answer, but they're a team that is progressing. I'm going to give them that. They are building, they are working every day. They're looking better and better. Yeah. Is this tournament one too soon for them to go too deep? I'm not so sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that they're here is pretty phenomenal for a team where you would look at a squad like this and you look at other squads in a similar situation where they're still developing some of that chemistry, they're still developing some of that synergy and like team aspect of it, and you're like, wow, they made it to the playoffs in a major immediately. Like, that's still kind of, you can't really ask for much more than that, honestly. I feel like if you're a coach, you're like, all right, we'd love to win it all, but like just getting this far is pretty phenomenal for our first time out, right?
Yeah, and maybe Fresh, you can speak more on this than I can, but you go to the coach point, right? And I feel like that's a big reason why G2 can make so many changes and still really maintain a level of top-tier team, because they have Shaz in the back who's been on this team for forever. I feel like he's the one player that has been with a single core of a team, or coach in this instance, longer than any other person in the scene. So he's done amazing to really shape this team, shape them up.
Yeah, all right. Well, we've talked about the teams enough. It's time to find out where the game is going to be played. Time to find out what our first map is going to be. We're going to get into picks and bans, and let's check it out. So as we get in, predictions. We're not going to border, obviously, but Fresh, what can you anticipate with this one?
Oh, I mean, the thing is G2 have kind of got like 3 maps that they love to play, 3 maps that are kind of mid, best of 1 maps, and 3 maps they don't want to play.
Sure.
So for Liquid's bans, I would expect them to get rid of Skyscraper, Bank, or Theme, 2 of them, and G2 to pick the other one. With Liquid, it's a much more complex scenario because they've got a much bigger map pool. They've got it's a more tested core that's got a lot more experience. Therefore, they're a little bit more flexible.
Sure.
G2 getting rid of Border and Villa. They've been the insta bans in the perma, in the best of ones, the perma bans. They don't want to play either of them, which it does leave an opportunity for something like a Chalet or a Kafe for a Liquid's pick, because they've not looked too good. G2 have not looked too good there. So they're going to be our 4 bans. G2 getting rid of the 2 bans that they don't like, the 2 maps they don't like, and Liquid getting rid of 2 maps that G2 absolutely love in Skyscraper and Bank. So we'll come through to the map picks. G2, as I said, they will go for, they've got 3 good maps, they will go for the one that's left open. That will be Theme Park, and of course Team Liquid will start on the defense, given it is known as a defender-sided map.
All right, Theme Park, what do you think?
Clubhouse. All right, the Clubhouse coming through for Team Liquid. I mean, this is one of their favorite maps. They played it 4 times this stage. They lost it to W7M at Copa, but then they beat Double O Nation, Team 1, and then W7M for the rematch on this map. So they're very, very proficient with it. Our 3 remainders are Kafe, Oregon, and Chalet. I feel like we might see an Oregon here. That's a map that both these teams really do enjoy. Kafe is a bit spicy if we end up on that one. Chalet, G2 get the first ban. I would expect them to take this one off of the board just because they've had a lot of close results.
It is Chalet.
And they did lose it in the group stage, 8-6 to Dark Zero. So they'll remove Chalet from the pool. It's one that Liquid are undefeated on since the start of the year, so you don't want to be playing there. And then Liquid, the decision between Kafe or Oregon. Both of these teams, I would say, are probably preferring Oregon in this case. Liquid, if they ban that out, that means they're more playing to what they think G2's weaknesses are, and there we go, Kafe. So I want to start with G2 here. This has been a long time permaban for this team. They brought it out as a surprise against Dark Zero in the first game of groups, and they lost 8-7 in overtime. So this is a map they have not showed much at all in recent times. But for Liquid, I mean, starting these playoffs, they have lost Kafe more than any other map. They dropped it to 1 and Furia, but they've also played it a ton, and they've also racked up a lot of wins. So it's not a map that they're unfamiliar with. I think they're going to feel very comfortable here at Kafe. Compare that to G2, who have only really played this a single time.
So both of these rosters have picked a map that they like the best. It's kind of their #1 preference map that they had available. I think we go to map 3 because I know how much G2 love Theme Park. I think they'll be solid on that. They've not been seen through the stage, but they, ideology. When I was in the roster, we loved Theme Park. Shas loves Theme Park. They've got a really good idea and really good handle on how to play that map. Getting through to Clubhouse, I feel like that's going to be a Liquid map. Because the one thing, if I was going up against a team of superstars, what do? I take them to a map like Clubhouse, where I'm seeing Doki playing Flores and Thatcher, and you get in this team of superstars, forcing them into 2 breaches, plus a Maverick, plus a Thatcher, plus a Flores, something like that. And you're really taking these superstars, they've got a job to do first before they can go and kill. So I love that map pick from Liquid. And then we're going to go to Kafe, which, as we say, I hope we get there, because I think this match is going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah, I think the one thing to highlight as well about Theme Park, despite it being in the map in the map pool for a while now, Liquid have never played it, ever, in Tier 1 competition. So this is going to be a first for them, bringing it out against G2. Obviously, they didn't pick it. So it's really going to be a surprise what they actually have in store for this map. It could be great, could be not great.
All right, well, we'll find out. But before we get there, I think it's time to maybe make some predictions. It's time to put our casters and our analysts to the test. Can they correctly devise the outcome of this series? Let's find out. Let's send over to our casters first to see what they think. What do you got up there? Who's over there? Hey, how's it going?
Who else? Des and Tim, of course.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, this one's going to be a spicy one. We know it's going to be as well, Tim. I think, truthfully, on our side, when it comes to predictions, we're leaning towards Liquid.
It's looking that way. They've been really, really solid so far. For me, G2 playing a little bit individualistic. They need to come together more as a team if they're going to beat somebody like Liquid.
Exactly that. I'm kind of on the same sort of path as well, G2. On the way, but not quite.
No spicy takes or anything. You're just going with the logic, going with the numbers.
Yeah, no spicy takes today. Just not for today.
Oh,
Maybe
not
tomorrow.
for the whole
Tim.
day?
Maybe
Wow.
tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. 2 predictions for Liquid. What do we got for you, Blue? Or not for you. For you, Fresh. I was looking at it.
Oh, I've gone G2, and I mean, how could I not go G2? I think Shas would literally kill me if I didn't predict G2. To be honest, like I say, I think with the way the map ban's gone, I think we go to a map 3, and on that map 3, realistically for me, it comes down to how you're performing in the server on that Kafe. It falls into that kind of best of 1 map category. Potentially, whoever starts defense will have the advantage there, of course. It's a tough one to call. I think this is the hardest one to call of the day.
All right, Jesse, do you agree? Is it really the hardest one to call?
No, G2 aren't that good. Listen, I was doubting. Okay,
Wow,
a lot of
okay.
people were really high
Man.
on Liquid coming into this event. I was actually somebody that was a little bit more skeptical. I saw some flaws in their droning on attack. They talk a lot about their communication issues in behind-the-scenes videos, and all of those worries of mine have been blown away. Liquid have performed very, very well this tournament. I have no doubts about that. They're here to play, and G2, I think it's going to be a very hard game for them.
I think Fresh is going to be going for him after this one, I think, Tim.
Yeah.
After all this slander against G2, you know it used to be on the team, right?
If G2 wins, you're all going to look very silly, except for,
I gotta
except
get
for
out.
Fresh. He's
Why
not
are
gonna
the
be
EU casters not predicting the EU team, boys?
Because we've been let down so many times, Fresh. Come on, you know how this works.
Suffered that heartache.
I appreciate the honesty, at least, you know? I mean, they have the strength. There is strength in honesty like that, you know? But there's one more prediction we need to do. If you watch NAL, you may be familiar with this. If not, we like to leave things up to the force of chance from time to time. The mystic force that is only determined by a coin flip. That's right. But this is not the usual coin. No, this is a fill-in coin. The usual coin is actually back in California. This is a Polish zloty.
Oh.
So I know, yeah. Thanks to one of our crew for having this one. The 5 will be heads. The tails will be tails. But it's an eagle. It's got a tail. Anyway, we're going to do G2 for tails. Team Liquid for heads. Let's flip it. It's tails. The coin says G2.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
All
That's
right, the crowd likes the coin.
That's very good.
The crowd likes the coin. Fresh likes the coin. The coin likes G2. Let's see who takes it. I'll send it back over to the casters to call the action.
Thank you very much, Doa. Tim, it has been such a long time coming. I'm absolutely buzzing to get started with this one.
Absolutely, cannot wait, Des. Obviously, it's an exciting day. We've got a live audience back. I'm just not sure that I've heard them yet. There we go. That is what everybody wanted to hear. And believe me, that is just going to get louder and louder as the day goes on and the action rolls in, because we have got some of the spiciest siege that we've seen in a long time coming up today.
G2 versus Liquid feels like a real tale of the Titans, right? Two massive esports organizations coming together. Definitely one coming in favour for the day. Yes, even from the European casters that we'll have from time to time. But I'm really hoping G2 have got something in their back pocket here as well, that they can really show us that the boot camp they had coming into Charlotte, that the group stage has taught them a few things, and they come in raring and ready to go.
That's it. We've just got to be realistic about this. If you look at the ratings throughout the tournament so far, Liquid are way and above when it comes to that average rating per player and for the team as a whole. So G2 definitely got a lot of catching up to do here today. But if they can stifle a couple of those big names, Ask and Reset's already been picked up on, been going absolutely huge, then maybe they can get a little bit of ground. I think the first map is going to be particularly important for G2.
Yeah, massively. Theme Park again, a map that they haven't had the chance to play either. Teams have consistently banned it away against them. Always risky having a very much despised map by many teams in your map pool. But in this kind of context, like Fresh said, there are 3 maps that Liquid have got to get rid of. One of them will definitely get through, and it will be that Theme Park. So we get to see G2 maybe show some real prowess. I think you and I are both aligned, though. We want all 3 maps. We want Kafe to be that decider where the showdown really comes to an end.
We certainly do. I think we want a little bit of that word that begins with O, Des.
I don't
Maybe
know.
even just go in the distance. Who knows? We'll see.
I don't know that word, Tim. You have to remind me what it is.
We'll save it for if we get there.
All right, sound. Good plan, good plan. I do want to talk about the players, because you mentioned again for a second the stats as well, what we've seen coming in. 4 players on Liquid's side are more highly rated than every player on G2. They have had a much more successful group stage. G2 have only beat Heroic at the competition. They got through with 3 overtime losses that gave them enough points to get ahead of the other teams, but it's very narrow, it's very close, and for G2, again, you've got to see some success about others outside of your own region. You can't just be beating down Heroic, who you play against in the regional league. It's also about doing it here on the big stage.
Absolutely, and the reason that I mentioned earlier about them playing in sort of an individualistic way, getting out in the map, sort of taking those 1v1s, that's going to be a very difficult thing to do today if they play like that, because look at the team you're lining up against. What, you're going to go and take 1v1s against Palu and Nesk all day? That is not going to be an easy one for you. So we need to see just that increased teamwork today. We need to see them coming together. We need to see them gelling. And hopefully they've got Theme Park. It's one of the maps that they wanted. It's one of the maps that they like. And hopefully that's something that can come and deliver there.
I said it to Super yesterday as well. You know, for G2, we've got to see Citizen come online. We're used to this guy dropping 15 plus kills a map, but he has been extraordinarily quiet so far at this tournament. However, it only takes one day for everything to completely change. One map, one gunfight, you name it, and you might see the Terminator himself step up and do some real damage.
It always in my mind, whenever I see Liquid at a LAN now, it just comes back to that sentence. I think it was Lycan who said it. If you've never been run over by Nesk at a LAN, you've never really been to a LAN, you've never had the true LAN experience. And obviously we look at Citizen on the one side, we have to look at Nesk on the other, and he is another one of those players that could just activate and go absolutely massive. The interesting thing for Liquid so far is, historically, they have relied a lot on the kills of Palu and Nesk. They've always been like really up there at the top of the table. Whereas throughout the tournament, particularly here, we saw it a little bit at SR22 as well, is they are playing much more as a team. Ask and Resets are getting in there and getting those frags as well. It's taking a little bit of the pressure off those top two players, and quite often we're seeing at the end on the leaderboard, we're seeing, you know, maybe 11, 8. We're seeing a very close spread of frags rather than it just being Nesk going in there with 22 kills, which he's always got the possibility to do, but I just feel like it's shifted the gameplay of this Team Liquid a little bit.
In case you're all wondering why you're still listening to us two and there's no game on stream, yes, we haven't pressed the cast to start game button yet, but we are just getting through a quick mic issue as well, and we should be able to get things ready to go. In fact, as I say that, I can see that my screen has lit up with "the match has begun." Those famous 4 words that mean things are ready to go. Are you guys ready for this? G2 versus Liquid, our first quarterfinal of the day, the return of Siege Esports to LAN. This is what it's all about, Tim.
And I cannot wait, Des. We're going to get into those bans any second now. We're going to be loading into Theme Park. I think we've just got a slight technical issue. You're going to have to be ready, guys, to hype up again in a couple of minutes. Don't you worry. We'll look after you. And we're going to continue talking for a little bit.
Of course we will. There was one more thing I wanted to touch on, because the focus of me is going to be a lot.
Fortunately, you've got the chance, Des.
I've got a lot to talk about here, Tim.
Des never shuts up, to be fair, so...
It's kind of what I'm paid to do, Tim. To be fair, though, looking at the numbers, entry, G2 do not have a single player that is positive. You've got Citizen on plus on 0, so okay, you can argue, well, he's not negative, therefore, no, whatever. He's not. They are really struggling so far this competition, whereas just 3 players in Palu, Ask and Resets on the side of Liquid are currently sat at plus 21 on entry. For G2, the difference in this quarterfinal, the way to see if things are going to turn, we're going to have some different fortunes, is entirely going to be in the early round. It's going to be about those entries, seeing Doki get in there and get him busy. I'm always the one to say a 14-0 or a 0-14 player. Hopefully we see more of the former today.
Absolutely, and I mean, touching on the Liquid side again, something to watch out for. Obviously, I mentioned Nesk on those frags. Keep an eye on Nesk's positioning today. It's something that I mentioned, and it's one of the factors of Nesk's game that doesn't always necessarily get picked up on. You know, we look at Palu, and you've got the clutch capability particularly. Nesk, watch his positioning. He'll get 2k, 3k, 4k, and he'll barely move his feet. But the other thing that he does so well is he kills and he repositions sometimes, and you'll just see that he doesn't move a lot. He's very confident in where he goes. He hits a kill, he moves to his... It's like he's already got his spots lined up in his mind.
He's in flow, right?
Yeah, it's like he knows where spot B, where spot C is. He's already got that lined up, so he gets his first kill from here, he's going to move to B, and he's just going to stay there, and he's going to get his next kill. And it just shows that his level of game sense and his ability to predict the gameplay is just so high. And again, if G2 don't work as a team, that could really hurt them, because they're not going to be there to get the trades, and they're going to be playing into those lines of sight.
You've got to consider for someone like Doki as well, by the way. Been around the scene for what feels like forever, almost since its inception it feels like, but has not played on a big stage. Back at Tokonami, it wasn't him playing back then. This is his first time on a big stage. The same thing for Alamau. Yes, he's won a major, but not with a live crowd, and that can have a big influence on how teams play.
Yeah, I mean, very much the same for us, Des. You know, Doki coming along from the very same small events in the UK that we started at, and now finds himself on a big stage in Charlotte, sort of wondering, what's going on today?
I think it's what Ian said backstage, from Leicester to Charlotte. What a transition, and what a journey over as well it was. I'm sure there's plenty more fun to come over the next day or two. We are good to start the game, so we'll make sure we get in before we get too excited about this one. Tim, I think this time around, I might leave you to do the honours.
Yeah, we'll wait until we've got it loaded in, and then we're gonna get everybody going. So we are loading into Theme Park. It is Team Liquid versus G2. Is everybody ready? Okay, let's go. We're gonna have the opening game of the Rainbow Six Siege Charlotte Major coming to you right now. Team Liquid versus G2. Let's get into those bans, Des.
Absolutely. We don't get to see Theme Park all that often, so I'm really excited to see what G2 have got planned. The reason why most teams historically wouldn't go to this map is that if you pick the map, very good chance the other team is going to start on defense, if not absolutely guaranteed. So you just know you are in for a torturous first 6 rounds that most teams struggle to even get one attack on. So G2, they'll have some Monty, they'll have some Ying, they're going to have some spicy stuff. But that's what you want to see coming into this. Our first 3 bands coming through, Thatcher, Hibana, and Wamai, all taken away.
Yep, nothing too surprising for us, nothing too far out there. Mirror is going to round things up. The Wamaiban's been one that we've seen a lot more of, Des. Obviously, it's going to play into the fact that we're now likely to see a lot of Jaeger throughout this map because they need to deal with those projectiles. Especially, I'm thinking about sites like Armory downstairs. You're going to try and put some denial on those walls, but you've got 6 panels to keep closed. They're going to try and get nades in there. So you got to have your Jaegers, you got to have your ADSs in there, and it's going to be Nesk. And Nesk on Jaeger with the carbine is a little bit terrifying.
Well, you might also see some Maruni being brought along. She's got a gadget, Tim. I forgot what the name of that gadget is that also helps with nades.
I think it's a Surya gate, does.
No. There's a different name for it that we all use quite commonly. What is it again?
It's a laser gate.
Thank you very much, Tim. That's what I was looking for. Not present in this round, but the Jaeger is there for our first defense of Armory and Throne Room. Liquid. On this site, you can be really risky and try and, hunker yourself down basically in sight. It's not the way to play it. I imagine you'll see them wanting to get out in the map, get disruptive, because again, with attacker repick coming in, teams can just adapt and bring the perfect execution-based lineup along. You can see Alamao going over to play in that Ying. We've seen him on some spicy stuff in the groups, Tim. A lot of knock the other day coming out on Chalet. He came out with a lot of jokes as well all the way through. But I'm sure with the Ying, we'll see some special stuff coming out, assuming he stays alive to the point of execution.
We're going to head into the action phase of round number 1 then and really kick things off, get them underway. We've still got that setup going on from Team Liquid, and interestingly, they've got a few players up on the top floor. It's one of those, we sometimes see it for Armory Throne, we sometimes don't. It's, like you said yourself, Des, there is the possibility of bunkering down, but we're going to have somebody just drop out of the game there. I think we'll see what's going to happen. The admins will make the call, and we're going to come back to the players for a second and get this one started with all 10.
Would it be the return of LAN without a little bit of technical difficulty at the start, Tim? The beauty is, of course, we know now at least what's coming, right? They have to stay with the same operators. They can't change away from it. Will be the same site. They can get all gas.
There we go.
I tell you, they can do our jobs for us. We can just show up and let the players do it. It's no issue at all. Again, though, for me, it's that focus around the attacker repick because it is a really pertinent point. Throughout group stage, you've seen a number of teams really make some excellent use of it, especially when, for the defenders, that you can't just afford to sit on site and go, they'll run out of time. They've got 5 shields to go through and ADSs and magnets. No, the utility meta is long gone. Instead, it's about trying to keep as many attackers alive as you can as you get towards the point of the execution. Sure, that hasn't really changed since the old days, but the defenders now are being more aggressive than ever in trying to stop that.
We're going to get underway very, very soon. I feel like it's always building a bit of tension, Des. It's just getting us ready for it. As you say, coming in there, I was commenting on the Liquid setup, the fact that we had that top floor presence from them. Sometimes Armory Throne, you'll just have teams completely bunker down in the bottom. But it looked like Ask was heading up there. He had a little bit of utility. He had some reinforcements. He was opening up some lines of sight. So it looks like very much Team Liquid are going to be looking to try and hold on to that top floor. We'll see if they, as you said, the operators will be the same. Maybe they'll choose to set up sight a little bit differently. Maybe they won't. But if they do try and hold on to that top floor, it's about, there's not many verticals that go down into Armory Throne. So it's not necessarily about trying to keep sight safe. It's about wasting time, potentially holding on to those walls as well, because there are a couple of small areas of floor that can be taken up that will give you a view onto the backs of the reinforced walls, so you can use them to clear that denial utility out. But it's more than anything going to be about wasting time. It's going to be about finding kills on that top floor as well. So Ask being up there, he's been going well so far. That's going to be his job.
Absolutely. We'll see how things play out, though, now that we are back into things. Thank you for sticking with us to that one, ladies and gents. Round 1 back underway once again in just a moment. So the Armory and Throne, we spoke about an awful lot. You spoke about there not being tons of vertical. You have the hatch inside of blue, or split, that word that I forgot long, long ago, Tim. But also around the yellow wall as well, the soft flooring all around there. You can do some work from above. Defenders then naturally scurry more down towards the south. So teams can put some focus on that yellow wall. But more often than not lately, maintenance has kind of been the big focus. We'll see if that's where G2 want to set things up.
Yeah, that's it. You're not going to get that direct impact onto players necessarily, but it is going to impact where they play and where they feel comfortable. So the setup gets underway once again. Ask is likely going to be putting a mute jammer on each of those walls, and that's going to just try to help the denial. But as we know, the mute jammers, they changed a little while ago, and it's certainly not a guarantee if you're wanting to keep a wall closed. Interestingly, with the thermite being brought along by Prano, that does limit them a little bit. Obviously, Hibana and Ace have got a little bit more flexibility when it comes to opening walls with mute jammers, because they can play it up into the corners specifically, whereas Thermite doesn't necessarily have quite the same option. But you got Virtue on the Maverick, who it's a 2-second job for him to get in there. Little hole down at the bottom of the wall, shoot out the mute jammer, and then Prano is good to go.
Well, Liquid are starting out with 4 players up on the second floor here. Only one playing inside of sight. Not suggesting G2 are going to think, oh, that sounds like a great chance to rush, but instead they will likely have to work their way through this top floor and start clearing out these roamers. Resets holding out here towards Arcade. Looks like Kafe going to be at least some point of pressure for G2. But Tim, I have noticed Doki's out here towards the west by himself. A great C4. Is it going to pull it? No! Just misses it out, but thank you very much for giving us a free hatch, G2 will say.
Oh, Ask was so close to a big opener there, and that is, as you say, going to give access into control for the time being, but Ask is sat waiting ready. Joel's wide open to clamp down on anybody who drops through that hatch. Prano's got himself established in barrels, so G2 looking at the minute like they're posturing more towards that side of the map rather than going into maintenance. Of course, there is a little bit of vertical from control that can help you hold on to maintenance. It's going to be Ask up there on the top floor that gets the opener. He's going to take Doki down, and that is our first kill of the quarterfinals here in Charlotte.
A good kill coming back though. Nest going down to Citizen. 2 Titans coming head to head, and the Brit comes out on top at least for now. Got control of Arcade and moving his way through. G2, I've got to say, very split at this point though, Tim. You've got a couple out towards the west, a couple towards the east. It's just very separate. You can't really play for trades easily here, and I'm just worried that they'll start running out of time. There's that execution operator I was on about in the Ying, now off the board. Liquid look pretty much in full control.
Beautiful play from Ask and Parlu there. Ask just shooting out the Candela to prevent it being able to function, and then Parlu just moving round to support his teammate Resets. He's on the door here. He knows that Citizen is just outside of there, and there's going to be a little bit of a game of cat and mouse here. Citizen's going in, but I'm not sure he's aware that he's got Resets just hiding around that corner. He knows that there's a man in here somewhere, but he just can't be confident as to exactly where. Now he's going to try and creep his way through, Des. As you say, he's doing this a little bit without information. Nade going to go in, and G2 just playing a little bit blind at the
Great nade onto Ask as well, catching one at initiation. Still though at risk of the man that's sat inside a bunk. Resets. He could hit him on the flank here because again, Tim, we haven't seen the drones coming through. They've left this one very empty. Will Citizen find the man, or will he get found first? No way! Hits Resets on the reverse headshot at a 3K, and we said we had to see Citizen go big. This is what you want to see.
G2 turning this round on its head and giving us something to really get on our feet about in round number 1. It just sets this up, Des. It's going to be a great game. Parlu, he's got himself inside his sight. He's still taking them drones down. That information still trying to be gathered by G2 with only 10 seconds left to go. They're going to have to pull the trigger, Des. They're going to have to go. Parlu, he's watching both entrances at the minute. Is he going to get gunned down? Yes, he does. It's going to be Virtue. PSK, he manages to find one in a 1v3.
Why are you peeking?
Prano has to stick this plant. He's not going to be able to. PSK with a 1v3.
That is honestly entirely in G2's core. The slow clear of the top floor, the lack of drones, it just looks scrappy, and sure, you can try and count on the hero plays coming out of Ben, getting a massive 3K, but you're leaving it all down to the dying few seconds. You're nowhere near sight. It just looked messy for G2, and Tim, I really hope that's not a sign of what's to come on what is one of G2's so-called strongest maps.
I love that it was PSK that got that play there.
Oh, yeah.
The analyst mentioned it on the desk, and, you know, Ask, Resets, Parlu, Nest have had so much attention throughout this tournament and the last few months, and for good reason, absolutely top form. But PSK just flies under the radar so much. He has been doing that for Liquid for so long and so consistently, and he continues doing it here on the bigger stages. What a play from him to get the Brazilians underway. That's going to be 1-0 Liquid, and we head into round number 2. They're going to be moving upstairs, Des. It's going to be Bunk and Daycare.
I really hope in this round we see a little bit more coordination coming out of G2, because I touched on it at the time. All 5 members just split like a star diagram over the top of that map and working their way in. No real playing together, no looking for trades. They were just hoping to get a lot of map control by being so split. Whereas when you're a team, you know, full of really gun-capable individuals, why not just keep on playing for trades off each other? You're guaranteed to get the follow-on and just keep on pushing your way forwards. And Liquid there played it very well, spread out themselves, and kept G2 guessing, stopped them getting free control of map the way they were looking for. for G2, it's got to change in round 2. That cannot continue through this half.
No, I mean, they've changed the operator lineup slightly. We've got Prano bringing along the book this time. We're not going to have the hard breach. We've got Virtue on the Flores, so we're going to have those Rotero drones, the first of which is going to be going in there. And he needs to deal with this Kafe entrance, but he can't, because there's a well-placed mute jammer that's going to stop that Rotero going in. But the shield, the double ADS, that is going to make it an absolute nightmare, because what's going to happen is Liquid are just going to completely prevent this northwest-sided push.
I was just about to say, is there a jammer on this drone hole, but they've got 2 players watching from Arcade, so they just can't get their way through. Now you're going to get tested again. Congratulations, you've met the first mini-game of the round. Use your wits about, get your wits about you, figure out a way to deal with this G2. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself constantly forced back and almost forced to come over from the cash side instead, which may well be where G2 rotate over to next.
Well, they're not going to have a choice, but the thing is, Liquid, they should be ahead of this. They should know this is likely to happen.
One gone.
Because they've stacked up to stop the Kafe push, they'll then recognise we've stopped the Kafe push, so we now need to turn our attention over to the east side, and that's already happening. As you can see, you've got Ask there, he's looking towards. He did a fantastic job in round 1 of wasting time on this side of the map and preventing G2 getting in, and he's getting aggressive, but it's not going to be enough as Alamau manages to get in, get us an opener. He's going to find Palu.
A good start, but it's only 1. That clock's still running down, 75 seconds on the clock. And they've been able to deal with that setup around the Kafe. So G2 going to have to arguably here push in through a less optimal side. By the looks of it, they're trying to work their way through from initiation and push across from there. But are they aware about the player that's hanging around towards the north that could do some damage? Virtue finds himself 1. In comes Alamau on that Ying as well, straight in through the smoke, looking for a man, finds him, but can't quite finish the kill. Resets, gets away from his man and gets a kill. PSK down on the other side, 4 versus 2. They're flying through, a great trade coming in from Brano. 3 versus 1, and G2 should be able to close this out.
They just need to get this locked down. They've got a good idea of where Ask is. He's low health. They just need to push him together. Smart play though. Alamau is going to start getting that diffuser down. This is going to ramp up the difficulty for Ask here, and it is unlikely. I think that Team Liquid come away with another 1v3, but he's certainly going to be trying. There's a man on his left. I'm not sure he's aware. He knows there's somebody around there, but he has to dip back from that LMG that's going to churn him up as Citizen finds that final kill, and that is going to be G2 leveling things up 1-1.
Much better, yeah. When they pulled the trigger in that case, you saw the team play coming together. The trade coming out of Prano, the push down Arcade from Alamau. They were working together in trying to press on these players that they knew would be moving into specific locations, like Resets, pushing into the north side of Arcade. Much better than what we saw in round 1. Did it rely on a 3K coming out of one player? No, but it was good enough. 1 apiece we stand then on the attacking side. That first round, just a reminder, was ridiculously close. So it could have been 2-0 to G2 on the attack of Theme Park. That would have been crazy.
It would have been a good start. It would have been a very good start. We're just going to have possibly a quick rehush. You can see it just being called for in the chat there. We'll see. There we go. We'll get everybody back in as soon as we can. It shouldn't take too long, this one. It's just going to be a case of out and back in. But as you say, Des, G2 actually not a million miles away from a super strong start on Theme Park there. But ultimately, Liquid able to hold on and able to just keep things level for the time being.
Absolutely, yeah. Bit of conversation for G2 to have there as well, because again, they know that first round wasn't particularly clean. The second was better, but they know they can step things up to another level here. We'll be going back into round 3, and I'm curious to see if we rotate through sites once again. If we're following that 3-site rotation, Initiation Office will come up next, but Luka could opt to just go in for a repeat of the same site once again, try and correct the mistakes, because their hold around Cafeteria was really good. G2 couldn't get in, certain things were mute jammed off, other things had players watching drone holes. They just had an answer from start to finish with everything G2 were throwing at them, except for bullets. Can't really stop those too easily, Tim.
Not usually. I mean, the thing is, G2, they're not going to feel too badly about this. Like, that first round, yeah, they're going to feel like they could have won it, but it's one of those. PSK just manages to wheel around, get himself 3 kills inside a site, and you can't always do too much about that. So it's one of those things that happens, and G2, I think, can pretty much write that off. Ultimately, they know they're not going to go 6-0 on attack. It's not going to happen. So they're going to be happy enough if they can push to 3-3-4-2. That'll be, you know, an outstanding start for them.
Absolutely. We'll back into things in just a second. All players are back in the server, and the ready checks are coming in, so then we'll be able to get things back underway. At least for a starting point, Tim, I've been inspired somewhat by that second round. Again, it's given me a little bit of confidence in what we might see out of G2, but what I always say about any map is there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. When we get on the other side, Lubke could just run away with it on the attack. Going back to Lycan's quote, you haven't been at a real LAN until you've been rolled over by Nesk, and it could well come in the second half. Back into things we go with round number 3 coming right up. I've said round number 3 now.
Round number 3 or round 3?
Round 3.
Round number 3.
Does the screen say round number 3, or does it say round 3, Tim?
Round number 3.
It says round 3.
Third start is going to be initiation and office, so we're going to go up to the top floor again. Quite often, the likely choice, storage, tends to be the least used, so we'll see this one, and then we'll see Liquid head back down to Armory Throne more than likely. Probably this time, they're going to bring along the Warden Des, obviously a little bit concerned about the impact that they've been having from the Ying, so that's going to continue to impact on the defensive lineup.
Absolutely, I'd love to see some spicy stuff coming out here. Amaru, we've seen teased a few times throughout this event, right? But more used to get quick access to an area of the map without necessarily trying to burst inside of sight. I think back to G2 and their wonderful game on Oregon that saw an incredible zip straight up into Kid's bedroom, a plant going down, and no one could do anything about it. I don't think we'll see the same sort of creativity here, assuming, of course, Alamau sticks on it. But it's enjoyed quite a few different ops this week, Tim. We spoke about the knock play on Chalet. Turns out Amaru not quite with the same ring or rhyme as it does on Theme Park, but we'll take it.
We will indeed keep a close eye on him then and see exactly where that Gara hook gets utilised. Going to have Liquid setting up for, again, they're concerned about both sides, I think, here. They're getting gadgets and utility over on that north to west side. They don't want to give easy access into Kafe, for example, but they might find themselves with a little bit more of an east-sided push coming in from G2 here. Anyway, it's directly accessible to site. You can really start to immediately push forward and start to pressure them. But G2 were very patient last round. That's what I liked about it, Des. They didn't rush it. They didn't get panicked by the fact that they couldn't get themselves inside a Kafe. They were happy to just hold back, rotate, try something else, and I think that's probably going to be the order of the day for them against Team Liquid.
Yeah, it was great composure to know and rotate off. Some teams will just keep on running their heads against a brick wall and not be able to get through. But they took that opportunity to say, right, guys, we are being held back here. Let's make the change. And this time round, it gets through. They'll be kicking themselves a bit for that one. You know, resets. He should have had that mute jammer down. They may have shot it off the door, in fact, so I won't go too hard on him for that. But it does remove away a very critical location. Shield and 2 ADS is gone.
It just shows good adaptation from G2 as well. They've recognised last time what held us up, what prevented us getting into Kafe and getting set up. Well, it was the mute jammer, so how are we going to deal with that? And it's been done. So now Nesk, he's still going to hold on to that. He's not being forced away just yet. He's going to play in that corridor and try to keep them out of that side of the map for the time being, but it is a lot more perilous for him now. He does have Parlu in there for a little bit of support. I'm not sure if G2 are aware of Parlu's location here. It looks like they're on the rappel ready to go, but Citizen, he's going to get in, get a kill onto Nesk. It will be traded by Ask in a 1-for-1, and resets manages to find Alamau as well. That is the Amaru taken down, and we're now in a 4v3 at the halfway mark.
Great trade coming in from Liquid. That's the kind of team play I was talking about being missing from G2 in round 1, but Liquid are showing it in spades in round 3. What started out as a good entry for G2 has turned into losing 2 players. The Amaru gone, the Finka gone, 2 big operators that can have a massive impact off the board.
Prono just trying to sweep across. He needs to be careful because Parlu was playing on this side of the map. I think he's actually dipped away now. He's gone more back towards site. We can see all the silhouettes out there ahead of us, and Liquid quite often do this, get themselves a couple of kills in and around the mid-round, and then they're happy to just roll back. It's like, right, plan B, move back, and they know they don't need to be as aggressive. They can play those angles and wait for the pushers to come. G2, they're going to have to find kills here, and Doki gets himself on the little walkway in between, but Ask, he's just sat there waiting. He knows that this is likely to come.
And the thing is, G2 are entirely out of drones. They've been playing blind for the last 30 seconds or so, and sure enough, you're stepping through. Ask did get tagged up, but Doki not able to find the head. A few body shots from Ask, more than enough. I don't think Virtue sees the man sat in there, but the grenade comes in. Knock, knock, in it comes. Prano finding a kill, 3 versus 2. Liquid still with the advantage, and that clock is only working against G2.
Prano pushing forward now onto the double door, wanting to get himself inside a site, and he's going to have to, but Liquid are going to give them absolutely nothing for free here with 15 seconds left to go. Prano needs to be careful as he opens up that wall and starts to take shots back through it. Flash is going to catch him full in the face, but Prano manages to take down Parlu despite his ability to see through the utility. But it's PSK once again with a double kill at the end of the round to close it out for Team Liquid, and that is advantage to them. Once again, 2-1 now.
It feels like a lot of the same issues, to be honest, that we saw in round 1, just not enough drone play, or at least when they're using the drones, diving them in front of players, getting them taken out for free, having to push through with no time left on the clock, and praying you can do it all. I'll give massive credit to Liquid, by the way. Did you see them swing once that round? No. They didn't seem to go, oh, I need to go for a fight here, guys. He might be pushing. No. They just sat and held the angles and let G2 come to them. That showed real composure and professionalism in my mind.
They've too much experience to start throwing lives away like that. But for me, G2, they sort of play in two games at the minute. The game out in the map, the roam clear, dealing with everything away from site, they're actually playing really well. But when it comes to getting into site, that's when they're starting to have those difficulties. That's when it's becoming troublesome for them. Both rounds that they've lost have been when they've had to take that push into site in the last 15-20 seconds. And that's what G2 need to do better here on the attack, is they need to start working to soften up those defenders, to clear out that utility, and to get themselves, get the defenders moving so that they're not playing in those power positions.
It is hard, and it's always easy to say from the upside perspective of us and what we see, but the large majority of teams put all their focus instead on trying to get through maintenance. So for G2, don't worry about engaging in firefights all around the map. Just go straight to direct to site. Again, play for those trades, play for the gun skill that you have got, and try and look for that to give you an advantage.
Going to see an immediate push up to the building line from G2 here. Not messing about, drones going in, and as I said, it's part of that roam clearance game that they've been doing very, very well so far. And they are certainly building in confidence. You can see as it goes. Now we're going to have immediately the Maverick of Virtue getting right up there onto Kafe door, looking to get aggressive, but they're going to have to deal with Nesk once again. It was Citizen last time that was able to go in and get this kill onto the double door. Nesk doesn't have the shield, I don't think, this time around, unless it's just positioned to our left inside of Kafe, but no, it is not. Thank you very much to our wonderful observers. So it's going to make Nesk's position a little bit more difficult to hold. He's going to have to stay on this side of the door as he is now, because as soon as he peeks across, that's when he's going into the line of sight, and he doesn't have anything to block that for the time being. Reset is going to take a bold drop there. Will be shut down by Prano, but elsewhere in the map, Palu able to get one onto Doki, and G2 are moving quickly here.
Still getting themselves shot out on their way through. PSK, what a game he's having so far as well. 3-0 since the rehost, and of course had that 1v3 back in round one. Prano, who found the entry, taken out by Ast. A 4 versus 2 for Liquid, and truthfully, Tim, it does feel when it already comes down to brass tacks, it's Liquid coming out on top. Virtue getting one, Citizen going in for a swing and able to find his man, juicing himself back up, and now looking for the player. The red ping's coming through, so they know where he is. Could try and pinch him in on the window here, unless Ask wants to go hyper-aggressive with a shotgun, goes for the drone hole nade, comes out on the swing. The Citizen still trying to hunt him down here against him, wasting so much time.
That's it, it's just a problem now because you can't get in through that window. There's no way that Ask overpeaks this. There's just, I say that and then he strafes across the window. Thank you very much, Ask. But he is going to take a little bit of damage and he's going to find himself dead. He really didn't need to be moving himself around too much there, and he's going to give himself up to Virtue to leave us now in a 2v2. 50 seconds left to go, and G2, they're going to work together here. Going to try and push in through in tandem. They've got Virtue on the Maverick, so still have a little bit of an opportunity to burn out some of those walls, a little bit of hard breaching, but they're going to have to be quick on it.
It's a good nade you can get through here. If only you had Palu holding that angle once again, but he's already long moved off. And I think G2 have basically bailed on the plan of getting the wall opened up here. They've still got some drones to use. Citizen, 2 still on the field. Virtue still 1 out as well. The last stim comes from the finger, giving them as much opportunity as they can to win this gunfight when it comes in. Virtue with the last nade going to come out here onto the same spot once again. A good move from Citizen, looking to play off that. They look behind the throne. Will he find the man? No, the man almost finds him. PSK, the last raid boss once again, sat waiting. They find the 2 kills they need. Liquid with another round.
PSK is proving to just be an absolute stone wall for G2 right now. There is nothing that they can do to breach that final line of defense for Team Liquid, and he is going big. It's something G2 need to deal with if they want to get themselves any more attacking rounds. Right now, it is 3-1 to Liquid. 2 more defenses to go. They're going to be heading back up to the top floor. Bunk and Daycare, they won it last time around. No, they didn't. It was G2's 1 win, sorry. I thought they'd got themselves into initiation, but no. There's an opportunity then for G2. They need to double down on that. They need to get themselves another win here.
One thing for me that I'm looking down my stats already, is G2 are 3-1 on the entry. They've been really good in the early rounds, and I said back in the pregame, even Jesse did, when G2 get the opener, 80% conversion into round win. Well, Liquid are saying, well, let's change that number a bit, shall we, and bring it crashing down. They're doing a wonderful job of it so far, and it's always coming down to the mid-round. Again, largely off the back of PSK, who's done absolute work, and Ask, for me, the ultimate time waster. So many rounds, whether it's in control or sat inside of barrels, that clock is just being brought down by 45, 60, 75 seconds just by sitting in place and not being prepared to back down.
Bunkundurkere it is then. Liquid paying plenty of attention to the east side of the map as well. Just may open it up like Swiss cheese at the minute. Going to make it difficult for G2 to be able to get themselves established inside. We saw last time that Ask is very, very capable of holding on to that control area. We've seen him do it a couple of times, and he's out there on the mute again, so likely to be giving it another try. He just strafes himself across into Office to get a little bit of a different angle into Cash, and he's maybe going to get aggressive onto this window.
Quite possibly, Prano working his way across here, get these hatches opened up on the bunkers. He does best. And looking towards this Amara again. I know we saw it fail pretty spectacularly last time round. I think Alamau instead was just playing on the rappel in towards break room, and he tried to push in. Well, there was a man waiting for the left-hand side and got an absolute freebie. It's probably going to be the same story, but it just speaks to the pressure that Liquid are applying, giving almost nothing to G2 for free.
Ask still playing in and around this bathroom, hasn't been moved yet, will be droned out. That's going to force him to dip back, and that's something that G2, as I've said, have been doing well. They've been forcing Roamers to move, using the drones well, and going in and getting kills on the back of it. It all comes down to the site work. It's all that final minute that we need to be really keeping a close eye on G2. Now then, Doki going to be working underneath. He's certainly having a good think about this nade for the time being. Going to use it to potentially clear out some utility. Doesn't get the shield, but Citizen does get Ask. Reset's managing to find Alamo, and once again we've just got that situation where kills come in quickly on either side.
Absolutely, it's about stepping forward from this point though and taking ground. It's all good getting the opener, but stepping things forward from there, it's a very different conversation altogether.
Resets, he's going to be half health and just holding on here inside of initiation. Drones come in, but in G2 know exactly where he is, and Citizen's going to be looking for a long angle there through Cash. He's finally got himself established. Quite a long time for G2 to really get established inside of the map on the top floor, and that could feed into that late round problem of playing onto site. PSK still full health on the smoke. He's going to be holding himself in and around the vending machines, just again trying to halt that progress from the east side.
It's all about this control side again. It's looking very similar once again, you know, where we've got a player sat waiting for someone to try and come through the hatch, but G2, rarely having some drones left alive in the late part of the round here, have got a really good view. So now it's about to play, the drop comes in, Doki wins first, will get swung on here from the arcade side, down he'll go, Nesk equalising things out, Parlu losing out to Citizen. G2 have got the numbers advantage, but only 30 seconds on the clock.
Nesk, he's going to try and just hold on inside of Kafe here. He's going to leave it until the very late round to potentially push forward. He wants to hit them on the flank, as does Resets. They're happy to play outside of sight here and force G2 in a position to have to put the diffuser down. And right now, the three members of G2 need to try and find themselves some kills. That's important from Prado. Citizen goes big as well, and that's going to be G2 taking round 5.
The thing is, Tim, that's 2 attacking rounds on the board. That, arguably about 6 months ago, was what you'd be looking for on the attack. On Theme Park, that would be considered a really strong first half to even have 2 rounds. Here, they're in with a chance to get 3. I know it's their map pick. They should probably be having a 3 already at this point and be looking to make it a 4th. But Liquid have held on pretty well. Just when we have those 3 members of G2 left alive, droning well, that is when the magic starts to come together.
We're going to get into round number 6 then. It's going to be Team Liquid's final defensive opportunity, and we're going to be going to initiation and Office. Looks like we're going to have another little bit of a technical hitch. We will get ourselves back in as soon as possible for the final defensive round. Just a little bit of a... It was very quick last time around us.
It's one of those that, I mean, look, Citizen, that's twice now it's going to be this passionate as well. Leaning across the desk, talking.
You love to see it.
You do, and the thing is, I always spoke about this. Back when we had the old G2, when we had Kayak and Hungry on the team, I remember back at SI last year when we were casting, and we came on stage and they were just about to get knocked out. And I said the player that was the most passionate, coming up with ideas, was doing the talking, was Citizen. He's the one who, in those situations where things aren't quite going right, will ask for more, will push through changes that he feels that they need. And I think across the whole team, you know, although Prano is down as the IGL, it is a team effort that they're coming in together here. And it's Citizen clearly that's got quite a lot to say and things that they can change and improve.
We'll be getting everybody back in as soon as possible. Don't mind a little rehearse, as it gives us an opportunity to have a look out at our wonderful audience and everything else that is going on. We've got a NASCAR in here, Des.
We have.
We've got an actual NASCAR.
So many people have said that they think they can climb inside it. They're not allowed to, by the way, just to make that very apparent.
Don't get carried away.
But the woman who's here from NASCAR came over and said, look, I can't get inside. And bless her, she's quite small. I was like, well, we're all absolutely screwed then.
That's it. For anybody who don't know, NASCAR, the doors don't open. You've got to go in through the windows.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, just thought that one crucial detail's missing from those cars, right? For most people, open a door, step inside. They're like, no, in through the window. It's a lot more fun and living up to a lot of teenage boys' dreams, I imagine, of being like Action Man just flying in through windows and stuff.
Through there. But it's it's absolutely wonderful. Just stood up here watching.
There it is.
Everybody come to. There you go. We've got the NASCAR. Thank you very much, production.
With a Rainbow Six
It's all
wrap.
got the livery as well. It's got the 6 Major Charlotte livery. It's an absolute.
Now I want to see that out
cracker.
on the track. In the Rainbow Six livery as well. It'll be unreal, absolutely unreal. Back in just a second as well, because we are all back in the server now. Game is resuming once more. So we'll see the epic conclusion to the end of this first half of Theme Park. Tim again, Liquid at 3-2 on the defensive side. G2 with an opportunity here to make it 3-3. And that just kind of gets us on track for that wonderful O word, Tim. We'll keep on saving it for a while, but you just don't know. It could well be coming.
I'm very excited if it does, because I want everybody here to shout it with us if we get there. I'm very, very excited for that possibility, but I'm not going to wish it on the teams yet. I'm sure they're both going to want to get it locked down in regulation.
The fan art we got this morning of that artist blessing of me holding up a shutdown sign. I was just like, unbelievable.
Don't you worry, there'll be plenty of that coming as this one goes on. 3-2 as it stands to Team Liquid. We're going to be heading back in now. It's going to be round number 6, and we're going to be heading to initiation and office for the final defensive round for the Brazilians.
Indeed we shall. Let's see if G2 can change their fortunes. We had this back in round 3. It did go the way of Liquid, even with G2 breaking the shield hold around Kafe in record time. Then they managed to get by and shoot the mute jammer that was on the cafeteria doorway and just run a Rotero in through that spot. As it stands, they aren't going to run the Roteros this time around. Flores being put on the bench for now at least. Maverick coming along instead. So even more nades in the arsenal of G2. That would be 6 in total, Tim. And hopefully, we've already seen a few nade kills. They can find a couple more.
That's it. If you're going to bring that volume of utility, you've got to get it working for you. Whether that be taking out the utility or whether it be dropping bodies on the other side, you've got to get every drop out of it that you can at this level. Now then, we're going to head into round number 6. Get things underway as we go into the action phase. A good drone phase there for G2. They've only lost 1. They've got 9 drones. In fact, they haven't lost any because they've got Doki on the Twitch. So the Twitch only gets 1 drone, of course, and then gets 2 of the shock drones. So G2 holding on to every single one of them does.
Absolutely, fair play to start things off then for G2. I want to see where the attack comes in, right? Again, we saw the focus around Kafe before it got stuck there. They moved out towards Dragon side instead. Here it's looking a bit split once again, where you've got a couple of players up on the roof. You've got Virtue looking to push his way up around Cafeteria, and I imagine you'll have Alamal trying to push through around the break window again. That is where his big focus has been time and time again throughout this game. It's an unforgiving position to play as well, because you could be shot from the right, left, dead ahead. You're just kind of vaulting in and hoping your team have got you covered in some way.
Citizen straight up onto the rooftop then with the Thinker. He's going to have Doki up there with him as well. They're going to be looking to push in from that east side, so a little bit more direct to site. It is initiation and office that they will be pushing towards. Citizen going pretty well on the entry so far, Des, managing to get himself a couple of kills, no deaths up to this point, and just really helping propel G2 into those rounds. They just need to have that little bit of sort of the last bit of the round, get the entry, push on, get the round.
Well, again, their 3-1 entry record has now become 4-1, so they are strong in the early round, but it's where they're losing in the late round that's costing them. The stone wall of PSK, the lack of drones, the pushing into sight with no time left. It's all good having a strong early game, but you need to be able to convert it into a good late round advantage, and hopefully into a win off the back of that. G2 spent a good 90 seconds here deciding where to go. Earlier on, we saw Citizen and Doki heading out towards Dragon side, now rotated all the way back over to join Virtue, over towards Kafe Nest. Uncharacteristically missing a little bit of drone there as well. Alamal's in, but no, Palu's just ready, as he always is. One comes back the other way, a second coming in for Liquid. It's not looking great for G2 once again.
Not as easy as it used to be for Palu there to pick up on the Amaru coming through. There was the change recently, of course, where the sound of the animation is later in the process as you come in through the window, but Palu still reacting fantastically well. Liquid on top here, 4 versus 3. Citizen trying to get something going, opening up lines of sight, albeit small ones, but just using that LMG to its maximum capacity there, not just for kills, but also for a little bit of renovation. Going to take about 50 damage there as he tries to get the nade out, but he's going to use a nano boost to get his health back up. Virtue opening the wall up directly into sight. Nade goes in, little bit of damage onto resets, but not enough.
C4 in hand as well. Might find Citizen here for free, but no, he's long stepped away. G2 though, my concerns against him in the last 45 seconds, haven't touched a drone. They've been in this 3 versus 4. They've had the time to do that, but instead they're pushing in blind here. They're lucky to still have 3, but they've got to make it work here with 10 seconds to go. Prano on the drop in, looking in towards Dragon. No one to be seen. 2 kills in for Liquid. It's another classic G2 round, unfortunately, as Liquid end the half 4-2.
G2 just a little bit slow on the attack there. We commented on it at the time, 90 seconds before they really looked confident in where the push was going to come, exactly which side. They'd started on east, they'd moved over to west. It was all a little bit sort of broken from them, and they never really recovered. So will they do better on the defense? That is the question now. We're going to swap sides. We're going to have Team Liquid moving on to the attack. G2, they're going to be taking the bottom floor site of Armory and Throne to kick things off on the defense. The question for me here is, this is where we've seen G2 play in that individual play style. We saw it on Chalet the other day, Prano out on main stairs, you know, Virtue I think was up in library, just all sort of playing on their own, not there for trades, not there to impact on each other. That's something they need to avoid here. If they've got 2 people up on top floor at either ends of the top floor, for example, Liquid are just going to go in numbers and take them down.
And generally, it's easier on the defensive side to play that way. On the attacking side, you know, you've got a lot of ground to cover and take over. You can't all just push it from one direction, otherwise you're basically walking into a meat grinder, right? So on defense, things should get better for Liquid. I think they'll be very happy with the fact they've walked over even 4 defenses on G2's map pick. Again, theme park a map that very few teams actually play. G2 have got the chance on one of their top 3 here, and so far have not got as many rounds as they would have been looking for. We'll see if their fortunes change, but Liquid could just keep this show rolling in the second half.
We've got quite a top floor presence from G2 then. There's at least 2 up there for the time being. Prano, I'm just a little bit concerned as about how widespread these are. And the reason that I say that is if you look at G2's positioning, there's nobody that can impact on anybody else's death. That's the problem. You need to be getting those trades if you're on defense. You can't just lose the round to attrition. So a little bit concerned about that. We'll see how it pans out throughout the round. Doki on the Vigil is going to make him difficult to deal with. He's keeping himself off the drones. Takes one down, which will give away his position, but he should be able to relocate fairly easily.
I don't hate defenders being by themselves as long as they show restraint, right? Look back at Liquid again in the first half, how often they would not swing a doorway when they knew G2 were roughly on the other side. They'd sit and wait and just play it very patiently and let G2 come to you. As long as Doki's trying to go hyper-aggressive here and run back into ground that is already lost, they should be okay. That's what I'm watching out for, really, is again, not dying in silly ways in the early round.
Ask is getting himself inside of the map. He's going to find himself inside of maintenance there. He's on the Iana, so obviously not in a position to hard breach, but he's just trying to clear the path for resets, who will be looking to come along later. They've got Palu on the sledge. There's a beautiful nitro to kick us off from Alamo. He's going to take down Ness. Must have had a little bit of information on that one, maybe from a Valkyrie cam, just telling him exactly where the position of Ness was, and he was right above that trap that had been laid.
It's really interesting on a map this big, to be fair, that Liquid haven't attacker repicked in an IQ once you know there's a Valkyrie on side. It's been the go-to response throughout the tournament. As you see a Valkyrie, you bring the IQ. Ask, seeing one sat inside a bunk daycare, Doki going to have to get the hell out of dodge, over the top of Arcade and back down. This is what I was glad to see, and what I was speaking about is I don't want to see over-aggression, trying to push back in when you've already got an advantage here. You've wasted 2 minutes. You've got a kill. That is a wonderful start for G2.
That's it. They almost, for me, need to take a little bit of a leaf out of Liquid's book, and that is getting themselves the advantage at the half, dropping back to side, and just waiting, letting Liquid do the hard work from there, and it's looking largely like that is the game plan for G2, as Doki now on the Vigil has got himself back into sight as well. 50 seconds left to go for them to hold on, and Liquid are starting to do a little bit of work now, getting hatches open, making sure that they're safe to move into barrels, and just trying to get themselves set up to think about this breach.
I'm nervous for Doki's sake here as well. I know everybody wants to tuck into that corner and kind of make it easy to make a play from, but if they pinch him out or just see him from above, he's dead. Speaking of which, Alamal's got himself a freebie. Virtue there for insurance, not that it was required. 5 versus 3 for G2, who are slowly picking Liquid off in the shadows.
That's the teamwork that I was talking about from G2. We need more of that, where players are just working as a pair like that. Liquid managed to get one back, 3v4, 10 seconds left to go. They're going to have to flood site here. They've no choice. I don't think they know that Virtue's waiting. It's another freebie as the kills rain in for G2. Prano, Virtue, Doki close out the round, and that's going to be G2 taking their first defense, and it's now 4-3.
I feel so bad for the Iana at the end then. Everyone's done that in ranked, right? You feel like you've checked every corner, you're going in as safe as possible, but the one corner you don't check is where the player is, and you die for free at the very bitter end of things. Unfortunate, but I think really wouldn't have had a big impact given Liquid were also short on time. So good stuff by G2 there, slowly running the clock down. Liquid, I felt, were trying to be really methodical about things, getting the drones in, making sure they knew what was going on, weren't just throwing the drones away for free either, but just couldn't really capitalize because Doki, one slippery little bugger, Tim.
He certainly can be. Certainly can be. Manages to slip through the cracks. That much is for sure on that one as he got himself some important work done. Now then, we're going to be heading into round number 8. It's going to be the top 4 this time for G2, Bunk and Daycare. And what you feel is a really important round in this game. You never know when this pivotal round is going to come. It depends on the scoreline when you reach sort of round 7, 8, 9, but they can be particularly important. If G2 get this here, the belief kicks in. They know that they can do it. They've got the 2 defensive rounds. All they have to do is win those 2 sites again, and they go to overtime. If Liquid get it, they start feeling like this might be doable. They're only 2 rounds from the win, and it can be a big mental shift in round 8. So we'll see who comes away on top. But G2 setting up pretty similar to Liquid. They've got the man over on the east side. They've got somebody trying to hold on to Kafe door. I'm not sure how much utility they've got there. They do have the Arunis going to be opening up some verticals as well, and that is going to be potentially to deny a plant in the later round.
Absolutely. Doki once again doing a bit of roaming work out here, hoping someone's going to greet him inside a cache, hand over some money, and then depart, hopefully with him putting a bullet in the head on the way through. Not playing on the Vigil this time around, worth noting the team needed those ADSs. Isn't playing as much of what you might call a selfish roamer in a way, right? Vigil very much playing for himself in most cases, but here, once he's got a drone or 2, should look to dip away. The problem is this entire wall is soft, so you've got to be so careful on the run back out. A nade coming in, not able to find him.
Doki just about avoiding the damage there. Takes a little tickle, but will be free to move on. He's going to be hitting some reinforcements. That's it, a little bit of preparation there as we are now at the 1 minute mark here coming in. 2 minutes left to go, and that is G2 just basically waiting to see what is going to come out of Liquid, and I quite like that. Let's see what's happening with the attack before we get too committed.
It was a very kind of light engagement as well. A drone going down, Doki a little tickle of damage, but you did see 4 members of Liquid were sat on drones as well. They are being really methodical about things, and one of the difficulties of Theme Park is it is such a big map. There are so many different corners you need to check out for and watch for that you can get stung if you're not careful. We saw that in spades in the last round. So yes, being methodical is good, but you've still got to get yourself towards that site in good time.
Going to be getting the office wall open up now, but you just see it there. The electrical goes on. That's going to burn out the Selma. It will be cleared now, and the second Selma is likely to be successful, but one was lost. That's going to be office wall opened up, and Liquid, they're going to be pushing pretty much through that breach and the double door. Lots of work for them to do. 1 minute left to go, and still no kills on the board. G2 pretty happy to just sort of bunker down here and wait for the final push to come. As you can see, the lines are drawn now. They are completely set up on the west side of the map. We've got Alamo looking to hold on to Kafe door. Important position because they don't want anybody coming around the back. Now then resets. Manages to get an angle over the top of the shield, but Alamo holds on.
Resets ate so much damage from the smoke as well. It was so well placed by Alamau just to catch Resets. Tucked in the corner, who's forced across the door, but it's almost Alamau that gets taken down as a result. There's so much utility still here, Tim, as well. We've got laser gates, ADSs, shields. It's going to come down to winning some gunfights, of which Ask can do, bringing down Doki.
20 seconds left to go. Ask is now trying to aggress on. He's trying to be the catalyst. He's trying to get something going, and what a beautiful headshot through onto Virtue. Alamo doing work still inside of Kafe, but gets killed from the rear side. 1v4 as Liquid just storm into sight. It is all down to Citizen. He gets one. Does he get two? No! He's shut down as Team Liquid are able to take round number 8, and that is going to be 5-3.
Just goes to show, even on G2's side where they'd have felt confident, they had shields, laser gates, ADSs, everything still working for them. And Maverick walks up and finds 3 kills and completely shuts your whole attack down, or defense down, sorry. Wonderful stuff, and those are the kind of rounds that will get Liquid over the finish line.
Starting to get a lot of excitement on the side of Team Liquid as well. You can see that they, as I said, that round 8 was an important one. They've hit 5 now, and they start smelling the blood in the water nowadays. They know that this one is close and that they are going to be able to potentially take theme part. They've managed to get themselves a big win there on the secondary side for G2. So now it's about pushing on and just bringing more of the same. The one word of caution I would have for Team Liquid is you can't always rely on that last 20-second collapse like that.
Well, I mean, we saw it from G2. Look back at round 1. Citizen got a 3K and they still didn't manage to close the round out. I always call them hero plays, Tim. When you've got one man who's stepping really into a position that if this were a game of chess, he would not be finding 3 kills like that. If you do, wonderful. That's the FPS element of the game shining through. But it just kind of leans into that whole, you know, you can't rely on the FPS side, you can't rely on the strategic side either. Both can crumble at a moment's notice. Round 9 then 5-3 to G2. See, I didn't say number 9 there, Tim, just said round 9. We'll see what they can get done here. For Liquid, they were held up by G2. Doki doing a good job, got a drone as well, then moved himself back, kept things safe. And so for Liquid, watch the clock. That's my only real statement, is watch the clock.
Doki once again playing out on that east side. They're obviously happy with what he brought. As you say, it was a pretty gentle hold really. Took down a couple of drones, had a few pop shots at barricades, and then dipped away as soon as the challenge comes in. And it's going to be largely the same here now. We'll see if he goes to reinforce that office wall, whether that is still on his list of jobs to do or not. I thought he was going in for it there. It looked like he was bent down, but no. They're going to leave that half open this time around. So interesting from G2. That's going to prevent Team Liquid getting in there confidently. Last time they were able to move in, start opening things up. Citizen, he finds a nice nitro. We know the ability that this man's got on the Valkyrie, and he proves it once again. Opening things up with a kill onto Ask.
I wonder how much he likes the MPX. It's always called the P shooter for a reason, right? We know Citizen likes his big, heavy-hitting guns, especially when they snap onto heads for fun. Here, at least, that opening C4, a wonderful start again, bringing down the man who went massive in the last round. Will remove the possibility of him going huge, but still got other players alive on the team that can do much the same.
Doki on the yellow stairs. It's where he played last time around. He was picked up with about a minute left to go, so Team Liquid may well play for that same first kill. He was the catalyst, really. He was the one that sort of signalled that the round was going to get going. There could be a hatch drop coming in here. They're going to be clearing out utility, trying to get a nade down there. It will clear out the utility they needed to get that office wall open, which had been reinforced rather than leaving it open, so it's allowed them to get in there with the ace and to get those Selma charges working.
G2 have dug right back into site here as well, so Liquid have done the right job, forced the roamers back towards site, corralled them in like wild animals, and now it's trying to find picks that will get them the round win, or at the very least, enable and execute. We've barely seen any plants so far either, Tim. We've only saw the one in round 2 from Alamau at about the 30-second mark in the 3 versus 1. Liquid, at least in that first round, or the first couple, have just shown, hey, who cares, and we can just frag out.
PSK now working inside of office, trying to find any angles through, but G2 keeping themselves in much better cover this time around. They've not given up those deaths as they did last time, and they just seem that little bit more secure, that little bit more protected. Resets trying to work from inside of Kafe. He's got a laser gate to get through yet. Could be a freebie, but Paolo, he can't quite react quick enough. He wants the easy kill, and he finds it. Going to be Alamau taken down, but only 10 seconds left to go. Doki finds PSK. Prano, Alamau. It's all going the way of G2 as they manage to get themselves Bunkin daycare. And that is going to bring us back to 5-4 now.
That's what you want to see, keeping things nice and close. Yes, G2 on that defensive side had the advantage here, but let's not forget Liquid, 1 round and they guarantee at least going through to overtime there and keep themselves in the conversation. The only thing to be concerned about, I haven't seen it explicitly, but I know full well this should be the case, is that G2 will start on the defensive side in overtime. They pick the map, Liquid pick the side in regulation, they pick defense. When you go into overtime, the team that picked the map get to choose. And you'd have to be a lunatic to pick to start attack on this map.
Yeah, I think, we've seen that so far. Obviously, the defenders having the run of things, generally speaking. G2 now 2-1 on their site rotation. They're going to go back down, across to initiation and office this time. Interesting, because Armory and Throne, of course, was open to them, having been around from away from it for 2 rounds. So they decided instead, let's mix things up. Maybe, we've already had the win on Armory, but this could be an interesting side choice. We'll see at the end of the round. If they lose this one, then you wonder, should they have just gone back for the rinse and repeat?
Wouldn't have been a bad call overall, but we'll no doubt see. maybe here trying to play around expectations and keep Liquid guessing. Of course, attacker repick, meaning it doesn't have a big impact. Tim, I spoke about G2 maybe bringing along a Monty. Look at Ask. He's the one now bringing the shield bearer to bear. No doubt pushing in through either cafeteria or through cash. That's normally where a Monty will work his way through. And I think back in the old day, Pengu, of course, is now on our casting team, said, it's a great way to get control on this map. If you are struggling to break open a 3-point hold inside a cache, walking with a Monty, you can just march your way through and take control of other areas of the map quite easily.
Going to have lines of sight being opened up by the Aruni and the rest of G2 as they look to be able to prevent that push coming across. They're going to be facing up to what looks like a control push, as you say, get the Monty in there, move through cash and just try to take the ground inch by inch. Now then, we've got Doki playing a really high line. He's got some utility, he's got a reinforcement, so that tells us Doki's going to be playing his life out here. He cannot get that drone either. He does find a second, but the first will elude him. Now, Doki, he's going to hold on to this for as long as possible, and it's going to be an important part of this round. If Liquid can get in there and clear him out, and that's largely going to be the Monty's job, just to get aggressive and to force him back. As you can see, Doki, he has to leave it, Des. He cannot stay up there for too long, and Liquid have done a great job of just burning through that position.
And this again ultimately is where the Monty starts to shine, is that you can just face check essentially into the room. Spot where Doki is, he knows that he's been seen and probably is going to get challenged by a nade or from somewhere else and has to back away. So with very little effort, Liquid have forced those roamers back.
That's it, the Monty working into control now,
boy.
allowing the Selmas to go out. They're going to open that wall through into initiation, and there could be an opportunity to get in and get this diffuser down soon. Not something that we've seen too much of so far. It's been limited in terms of having an opportunity to get to the objective, as we've said, can be difficult for the attackers on Theme Park. A minute 15 left to go, and Alamau, the sole player of G2 inside of initiation. He does have some support from Virtue. Oh! What a kill from Alamau! Takes down the Monty of Ask, but there are 2 kills that come back in from Liquid to nullify that 4v3.
This is the problem, right? I thought the Monty was going to get in and get away with the plant there. Alamau's done a service for his team, but G2 didn't have enough players watching the site. Resets, sticking the plant down here. A C4 coming out of seemingly nowhere. Palu goes huge. 2 kills, and Doki, the last man left standing here in a 1 versus 4. Palu next to 3K. And Liquid take the round and move up to match point.
Coming into this, obviously, we were talking about Liquids as a potential favourite for the tournament, and they are looking every inch the potential favourites at the minute, because they are just walking over G2 on Theme Park right now. G2 have had their moments, but Liquid just always seem to have the answers, and the problem for G2 is every time they move to a different attacking site, it seems that Liquid are able to win that first round on there. G2 needing to play a more reactionary style, see what comes, adapt to it, and win that second attempt, and that's not going to work for them now, because Team Liquid, they have got themselves onto match point. They are in the position to take this opening map of Theme Park.
Understandably, they need this tactical timeout here after round 10, down at 6 and 4. The thing that concerns me a little bit, Tim, is we've seen back and forth across the entire map when we've had those rehos, for example. It's been quite, I don't want to say emotional because we don't know, but it's looked very heated between the players, that they're having those really intense discussions. I'm not suggesting there's discourse and that they're arguing with each other, for example, but it's clear things aren't quite going to plan so far today.
No, absolutely not. And I think, it's important. It's not something that's really been mentioned too much for G2 at this tournament. It's very important to remember how new this roster is as well.
Yeah.
When we think about expectations, they've got themselves through groups, they've got into playoffs. It's all about building something into the future. If they can come away with a good performance here, get a semi-final, get a final, a win, whatever it might be, that'd be a massive bonus for them. But right now, it's about solidifying as a roster and having that time, that experience to work together. And I'm sure G2 have taken a lot away from the tournament. There's a long way to go yet. They may well be going further, but it's just something for us to keep in mind about G2.
We've seen it historically for a number of players as well. There's a lot of pressure and stress that comes with being on G2. They are one of, if not the largest esports brand in the world. And for many, the expectations that you will deliver on this team, they're there from day one.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if, I need a stage and a major, maybe another stage to get warmed into things. No, you've got to deliver from day one. But you are right, where many of the teams have been given that pass of, it's their first event, give them a little bit of time. You've got to remember the same for G2. I'm not at all trying to make excuses for them yet. They should be playing better than they are right now on their own map pick. They looked completely blindsided by that control push.
Coming into it, as I said, the first map was always going to be important for G2. When you're moving on to Clubhouse against Liquid, you know that it's not going to be an easy time, and it could be a short day for G2 if that's the case. Now then, Citizen, he's going to be playing down inside of maintenance. He's on the Valkyrie again. We've seen him get the Nitro kills. He's going to pre-place that. I don't think he's planning to pull the trigger just yet. He's waiting for the push to come through from Team Liquid, and he's going to rotate himself under the map. But Team Liquid, they're just getting themselves into position, just posturing and getting rid of some utility. Palu on the Capitao is always a dangerous sight.
But look at the big difference, Tim, compared to what I said back in the first half to now, where I said for G2, they've got this kind of star formation all around the map. For Liquid, they've got 4 players all coming in from the same direction. It is team-based control and play. They've just pinged out the C4 on the below, so they know as sure as hell, don't go on the Dragon Balcony. They'll be avoiding that one for as long as they can, and may have even got it shot out through the floor already, Tim.
Very possibly. Nesk, he's going to... The thing is, Ness is moving in underneath. You know, if it's still there, it ain't going to be for long. Like you say, I'm pretty confident that they've got that cleared out. Yes, you can see that that is no longer in position. So, Nesk established underneath. It's going to allow them to move into maintenance and control now. And then that is going to be the basis for the Liquid push going forward. They're going to try and get themselves in through Dragon, in through maintenance, and push onto site. I'm just a little bit concerned because I've seen Liquid try this push, and I'm talking a long time ago, 12 months ago, but they would always falter when it came to getting in through that breach. They would eventually leave it to the last 10 seconds, try to push in through the maintenance breach, and that's where the difficulties would come. You just feel like they need that other angle, they need that pressure from elsewhere, whether it's from Split, whether it's from a Maverick hole in yellow wall, they just need something to make G2 as defenders think about another angle.
They may well have the verticals to play with here to at least put some pressure on at the other side, or could be looking, like you say, for that split push at the same time. A couple of these cams still alive for Citizen. I believe it's the same for the Evil Eyes that we saw both on the south and up towards the north. Now being burned away by those impacts, they rain through. So one Evil Eye down, one still standing to give some information. And Liquid, with Ask on the diffuser here outside maintenance, you can see exactly what they're trying to put together.
Nade in hand is going to be thrown out, taken down by an ADS. There goes a second, but there's going to be no joy as there's nobody in behind there. Prano, he lets one go.
Prano!
He's going to try to take down the planter, but no. Ness is there for an essential cover kill, and he goes for a second and he gets it. Big play from Ness to allow Reset to get that diffuser down, and that is G2 now on the back foot. It is 4 versus 3, 35 seconds to go.
They're going to be kicking themselves, Prano especially. That could have been the round ender. You've got an Alder, but Liquid, they don't allow second chances. Virtue's left, 1 versus 4, and it's all that stands between Liquid and this first map win. Round 1, or bet 1, goes to Liquid.
Well, what a start for the Brazilians. They come in and they take G2's map away from them and give themselves a real foundation to push on towards those semi-finals. It is not done yet. This is best of 3, and Team Liquid, they're not going to have it easy. G2 will come out fighting in the second map, but as far as the first map goes, Team Liquid have got themselves a good start.
Tim, I know there's going to be some nightmares tonight for Prano over that last little play as well. That could have been such a difference maker for them. It could have sent us through to round 12 and potentially beyond. But as we saw, it only takes the smallest of mistakes sometimes for rounds to go completely against you. But we can't touch on that being the only moment that cost them there. There were a number of things throughout the game, the drone work, the timing in the first half that needs to improve here in this break.
Absolutely. I mean, it just shows the absolute, fine margins that we're working with. Prano might look back at that and think, I should have killed him as he came in through the breach. The opportunity was there, but he was hoping to get a little bit more out of it, I think. Like you say, for G2, it's about that late round on attack. The roam clearance was great. That was fine, but going in last 20, 30 seconds, they just didn't have enough.
They did not. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, our analysts will break it down for you ahead of Clubhouse. See you in a few.
Paris, Mexico, Stockholm. I have so many memories. I had a front row seat to see Goga qualify G2 Esports for the final after an unbelievable performance.
On the best team in the world.
I was there in Tokoname, where Nello won a legendary round all by himself.
In the midst of a crossfire, gets one on the Diesel and a second one on Amaranth. Oh my God! Are you kidding me? The 1v4!
I was standing in that madding crowd at Montreal, stunned by the triumph of Space Station Gaming.
But it's home once again!
I was thrilled when Ninjas in Pajamas got its revenge in Paris.
Not bad.
Alamau in a 1v3 here. He makes the swing, he finds the headshot, and not just one.
I witnessed LMAO's demonstration in Mexico when he led Team 1 to a consecration against all odds. I was fortunate to see Damwon Kia making history in front of me in Yavle.
First Korean team who are progressing to the semifinals.
But did I tell you I even saw as a nobody TSM FTX became the new world champions in Stockholm? This is it. This is my major story. And as an official hardware partner of Rainbow Six Esports, I feel blessed to witness them for such a long time.
Certainly much more history to be made this weekend here at the Charlotte Major, but we got TL versus G2 starting things off. TL taking the win in map number 1. And, you know, I was watching that one with Pengu backstage a little bit, and we were talking about how slow things seem to start, especially on the G2 side. And, you know, that's something that we kind of think about, right, is you got the crowd in front of you now, and I'm like, did that happen to you back when you were playing? You know, and he was like, oh, yeah, whenever we were in front of the crowd for the first time after a while, like, you get a little bit worried. You don't want to die in front of the crowd. You start things off slow. They picked up the pace a bit, but not enough to take out TL, at least not in map 1.
I don't know if it was nerves. I'm not sure what was going on with G2. They look nervous, especially on the attack. They got themselves in some really nice places on that attack, and then just seemed to crumble with 20 seconds to go. There was rounds where they strategically, in my opinion, they strategically won the round, but they couldn't get themselves over the line. They couldn't actually win the round, and that's ultimately what cost them, because Liquid, we'd not seen them on this map, right? We didn't know what was coming.
Exactly.
And they attacked it very well.
They did, and you know, Pengu backstage, he's a player that has been to many of these lands, and he was able to attest the fact that when there's a crowd out there, when there's, you know, thousands of people in this arena watching you play, judging your every move, getting excited when you win, being disappointed when you lose, I mean, that really does get to your head. And I think starting on attack was a really tough proposition for G2, because they had to ignore all those nerves. They had to make things happen. They had to be the ones that were pushing out, that were finding those picks, and we didn't see that for a lot of the time. What ended up happening was just G2 were stalling out, and to be fair, Liquid did it too. When Liquid moves onto that attacking side, they were also at times a little bit too slow, a little bit hesitant. That round 7 that we just saw in the replays was kind of a perfect example of that, clearing the lab roam at 30 seconds left when you're attacking on the throne. Like, that just can't be happening. So speed was a big factor in this game, and I do think that comes a lot back to the environment that we're playing in. You know, these are experienced players, but all the same, that affects you.
Yeah, and I think Team Fight, we talk about attacking it, we talk about clearing it, and I think that's why we saw Liquid go onto the Monte, because you've got to force map control, and that's the one issue that both teams had. And I think in the end, the true difference between the two teams here was Liquid actually found a way to create that map control for themselves, get established, and then they put G2 under a lot of pressure, forcing them back into site, and then just capitalizing when G2 inevitably peaked.
So what does it come down to? I mean, if we look at the stats here, what jumps out at you? Alamo at 10 deaths already. I mean, that jumps out to me a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, I'm looking at this, and honestly, it's not all bad for G2. One of the big points we had on Death before this started was Citizen really struggling to get going, especially on attack. He started this game very successfully with that LMG, being able to run through the map on Finka. He was having a huge impact there to try to make things happen. Obviously, it was slow. There were some stumbles on attack for G2, but he wasn't the reason. He was a big part in making those attacks successful when they were. So I thought that he was off to a great start. I think it's very promising for G2 going forward. Obviously, they may not have many games left here to play, but for all that they do have left, they're going to need Citizen to be putting up those performances again and again.
You know, the thing to consider, too, is that was G2's map pick with the
Yes.
So that was the one that it seemed like they'd been kind of hiding a little bit, over the course of the group stages. Now it comes out, you lose that map. Now you got to go to TL's pick. Gets a little bit rough. But let's go back and look at a couple rounds specifically. I believe round 1 is the first one we're going to take a look at out of this one.
Yeah, so I talked about G2's dilemma, about how they've got this stylistic issue of some people want to play for plants, some people want to play for kills. And round 1, we saw a clutch coming out, and I want to just show you it here. It's PSK1, kills the first player. Obviously, the plant's now going down, kills Citizen, and then swings, obviously, for the freebie on the plant. But I just want to talk about stylistically about the difference. There's the person left, which was Virtue, who dies first. He is under the impression, boys, we're playing for kills, we're 3v1, he can't kill us all at the same time. He's the first person to die, but the other two players, they're thinking, boys, if Virtue holds the door and Citizen holds the swing, we can plant, we can win for free. And that's the stylistic issues that G2 have, where they're on this desync, and that's causing them to lose rounds. They win that round on the attack, it can completely change the outcome of this game. It gets them obviously another attack, but it builds their momentum on that side, starting out with an attack.
Right.
Yeah, and I think either style would have been fine there. Like, they had a 3v1 advantage. Typically, you want to rush and just take your trades and take gunfights. But also, time was low, so if you want to just get that plant down 2 players for Overwatch, that's totally fine as well. The mixing of both is where the problem
Whichever
comes.
decision you make, either was fine there, but you do it together.
Yeah. And now you had a clip, Jesse, that you wanted to look at too, and that was kind of combining a little bit of round 1 and round 6.
Yeah, well, this is something we saw like throughout the thing, and we talked about the pacing from G2 and how they got things started. And the one guy that was really trying to make things happen for G2 in the start of the rounds was Alamau. Alamau was on a lot of different operators. You see him here on the Ying. This was one where he wasn't quite able to make it through, and actually we saw Ask in that first clip shooting the Candela out from underneath him. Alamau was having a lot of problems in these early rounds with those opening picks. Round 6, he jumps in with the Amaru. He was trying a lot of these kind of wacky, creative operators that you don't see a lot of Ying, a lot of Lion, a lot of Amaru coming through from him, and it just didn't feel like he was ever able to make it land, make it work. There were a couple of times where those Candelas, round number 2 sticks out to me, actually did find a good bit of value, but way too often there, it felt like G2 were just throwing stuff at the wall, trying to make things happen. Alamau was trying to start us off, but he never really got there.
And that's the nerves that you see, right? Is you're seeing that this perhaps is the first time Alamau's been in front of a crowd, this big in America, etc. Where, especially on the Amaru where he went up the window, it's just a second early, right? And it's just that kind of desync, maybe a bit of nerves. He wants to be the guy that's making things happen to his team, but a lot of the time in those entry engagements, he was actually costing his team.
That's right. So any closing thoughts on or where we're going for map 2?
Yeah, map 2 Clubhouse, right?
Yes.
All right. That's going to be tough. This is Team Liquid's map pick. Obviously, G2 dropping this one here is a big blunder for them. I know, Fresh, you were not super positive on their chances on this map.
No.
This is going to be very hard for them.
My opinion was if G2 win this fixture, they had to have won Theme Park, and they've not done that. So I think going to Clubhouse, as I say, stylistically, we're going to be putting these players in roles in terms of G2 where they don't want to be. They want to be out. They want to be taking engagements. They don't want to be doing utility clear and breaching and all that fun stuff. So I feel like it's going to be a mountain for G2 to climb to win this one.
A fun stat for you, G2 on a 5-game losing streak.
That's not a fun stat.
Clubhouse.
That's a sad stat.
That's a fun stat if you're Liquid.
That is fun if you're Liquid.
Fun for some people. It's true. Yeah.
Their last win came against Kovana Gaming, who have now gotten a new organization and have drastically improved. So it's been a while since G2 have been able to find success here.
All right. Well, they're going to need to find success if they want to stay in the Charlotte Major. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, G2 fights for survival here at the tournament. Will they be able to tie things up and send us to map 3, or will Liquid take the 2-0? We'll find out when we come back.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Charlotte 6 Major. Map 2 is about to be upon us, Tim. You know, one thing I've really enjoyed seeing the crowd again is the signs. I don't see many right now. Any signs out there? Oh, a few. That looks like a sign that G2 are going home this map.
Ooh, Dennis coming in with the hot take.
It may well be. It may well be. This is not their map pit they're going into. We saw how rough things were on Theme Park, both on attack and defense. It's not the well-melded team that can go on to a final is my concern. Now, there is every chance they bring things out on Clubhouse and really show us a different side to G2. But Liquid, you're seeing the damage the new players are doing. Ask and resets. We gave them so many nods in that last game for wasting time, for being absolute chaos. Ask that huge 3K on the Maverick. You know, we've kind of come from a time when all the conversation was about Nesk and Palu, but now there are 4 players, and not towards PSK, not everyone can be a superstar, but 4 players that we're looking at here and just saying, amongst the best in the world.
At the moment, yes. I mean, coming in, we said that the average rating for these players, you know, when you compare G2 as a team and Liquid as a team, Liquid were head and shoulders above so far in the group stage, and it looked like that on Theme Park. Ultimately, G2 were just unable to break them down a lot of the time. You know, I don't want to keep coming back to it, but that final round, it just goes to show the difference between the two. Prano holds off, no problem with that. He's hoping to get 2, but the second one coming through that breach is Nesk. And he comes through pre-firing, you've got absolutely no chance there, and G2 maybe just need to take the opportunities when they're in front of them.
I feel when all things were equal coming into a gunfight, or G2 had a small advantage, they were winning. It's the ones where they came in without the clock, without drones, any information to really guide them, that it stung. But we are going into one of the El Clasicos, Tim, of Siege. It's Clubhouse for Map 2. Team Liquid's pick. If they win here, G2 are going home.
I've been trying to judge the crowd as we've gone as to whether they're favouring G2 or Liquid. I think we've got a lot of people who would like to see a G2 win here on Map 2, Des.
I think we do.
Yeah, we do. We've got a lot of cheers for G2. So let's...
I love how you get like Citizen get a single kill and you guys are like, yeah! And then Liquid will kill like 3 and you're like, yeah.
Well, let's have some more of that. Let's see if that energy can carry G2 to a Map 2 and into that final decider. It's going to be Team Liquid versus G2 on Clubhouse. The bands coming in. We've got Hibana and Maverick, so no surprises there. Those hatches are going to be super sick.
Well, for the longest time, we didn't really see double hard breach bans. That should often be a must ban. And here you've got both being taken away. So a lot of Ace, a lot of Thermite coming in, not forgetting that we'll also likely see some hard breach gadgets coming out along the way as well. Wamai also coming in from G2, Liquid into their last ban for the defensive one. A Valkyrie maybe, because G2 did enjoy running that. No, it's going to be the Kaid. So Thatcher can be brought along, but maybe not to as much effect as he would be if something like that was still on the board.
No, absolutely. I think... like you said, the interesting thing now is going to be that hard breach. I think you automatically think towards, right, Thermite, Ace, yes, we're going to see a little bit of that, but we're going to see that hard breach gadget as well. We're going to potentially see it leaning into maybe the odd 0 pick, you know, where you're getting that utility of the cameras, but you're also getting the hard breach gadget to be able to assist in opening those hatches, because, of course, Ace is a little bit weak on the hatches. It takes 2 Selma charges. I can be. It takes 2 Selma charges for 1 hatch. It can only open the one. The other is going to be a partial. So for the time being, it is a Thermite and it is an Ace being brought along, Prano and Virtue, but we'll see if that switches up as we go.
Alrighty. Always love a start downstairs in the basement and seeing what damage can be done out on the roam, because Paolo and Nesk, I'm looking at you, coming along on the Malusi and on the Jaeger. They're the 2 that you'll want to see off-site causing chaos around the map. We've seen a couple of teams, like I think Astralis is a wonderful example of it doesn't seem to matter what map they go onto, they'll make use of all 3 floors of a map in their own game and really try and press the attackers and keep them guessing as to what is coming. Whether or not they could opt to go for that full 3-story setup or not, I doubt they will, because they haven't got a mute on side, but you may just see them trying to waste a bit of time upstairs and then slowly work your way down, especially given G2 have not been fantastic with drone work today.
Paulu heading back to the mid floor and all the way back down to the basement, so he's going to likely be playing down there. A lot of Liquid are actually on that bottom floor, so we're maybe not going to see too much of a top floor presence from them. G2 going to have a little bit of freedom maybe to get themselves in. Paulu at the minute is the lone presence away from site. He's going to be holding top of main stairs. He's got Ask in support as well now, so it could be double trouble as they try to get G2 into the kitchen, but for the time being, they're focusing on that top floor.
Absolutely, no surprises at all. That's where you have to put some pressure in. Last thing you want is to be shot in the back as you're trying to think about and execute inside of the site. Resets, brace with the C4, ideally not chucking it at that time as you've got a couple of players rotating back down the main stairs. But 45 seconds in, much of Liquid working their way back down to the site. And now the question really comes to G2 is how fast can you realize this and get yourself started on the basement?
I think they'll be absolutely fine with that part. The roam clearance, as I said on Theme Park, wasn't really the problem for G2. It's that stage 3. When we look at attack stairs, we're looking at 3 stages. Stage 1 is going to be droning and clearing out the map. Stage 2 is getting yourself that utility clearance. It's getting yourself access into site, so it's your breaching process. And then stage 3 is that final execution. Going in, getting site control, getting the diffuser down. Stage 1 and 2, not the end of the world for G2. It's that final execution that we're looking for. This is rapid play from them, Des. 1 minute 30 and they are opening hatches. We often see another 40 seconds before that happens for teams. So G2 going very well so far.
Making good progress, but I've seen teams do this before where they have so much time to get set up. They open all the hatches, then they send 3 people down kitchen hatch and die without any cover coming in from Moto, any cover coming in from Dirt, and it all just falls apart. So you do need 2 or 3 things to line up here as the attackers on Clubhouse in order for it to work really well. Doki's already dropped in, by the way. He's got himself back for free. What about the man behind? He flicks and finds Nets. Finally gets shut down, but that's a massive 2K from the Scotsman.
Prano going in for the plant. He's got himself down the kitchen hatch. 50 seconds. Alamau finds the kill on the cover. Resets manages to get the trade, but it's too late. The plant is down. Citizen finds Parlu, and G2 are looking electric in round number 1. Resets. He's got it all to do. 1v3 shut down by Citizen, and that's going to be round 1 to G2.
Much better as well. Identifying an opportunity. Doki seeing, okay, I can drop and get the kill here. Yes, I'm going to be at risk from the guy who sat just on the other side of the boiler, but gets the kill on Ask, who's laid down by mannequins, turns around and gets the second, and sure, he dies for it, but by then, you've done the damage. You've cleared the man that was stopping the kitchen drop coming through, and Prano, like clockwork, drops in, holds down F, and they get the round win. Beautiful stuff from G2.
It was absolutely fantastic. Everything about that attack felt right. You know, the timing, everything, the way they work together as a team, and that's been one of my concerns for G2. That's what I said. I want to see that better team interplay, and Doki just, you know, rolling back there, just getting straight down, getting those kills, and that's what we expect out of him, is that explosive play. So round number 2, we're going to see Liquid moving away. They're going up to CCTV and Cash, and to be honest, I wouldn't be fancying going for a defensive Church and Arsenal after that round either.
No, a bit of a step away, although they're one of the things that they'll no doubt, they'll write down a little post-it note, stick it in the back pocket and go, right, next time we're back there, we'll course correct. We won't let Doki get away with that kind of magic again. Up here on this top floor, though, this to me, again, is one of the go-to sites in Siege. Like, everyone who plays Siege knows this site. It's changed a little bit in terms of how it's played, especially with attacker repeat rolling in, but what you'll find is G2 want to get this east breach opened up. They can then go down one of 2 paths. They can look to try and push in through garage with the support of that east breach, or instead go towards construction side, open that up, and look to put some pressure on red stairs from below at the same time. But generally, most rounds will always start out the same way, which is exactly why you've got Parlu sat right on this wall with the bandit charged in hand, ready for some denial.
It's going to be Ask up on the catwalk. It's a position that Nesk used to play historically and was very good from there, but as I say, that's switched around. It's going to be Ask on the Oryx, so we'll see how he holds on to that. Of course, we know how important that garage catwalk is. We're going to have Parlu just doing a little bit of playing around with the bandit tricking on that wall, and Prano's just having to sit back for the time being. As you say, they need to maybe get somebody in underneath, but Nesk was playing around that area. He's just, as you can see, holding himself back in. I think he's on the stock door at the minute, looking in towards lounge, so they're going to have to be very careful if they want Alamau to go in and clear Parlu out.
They need this down. Oh, he's down in the basement actually, yeah, so not even on stock, but do they know is the big question, is he down there? Here, they should be able to get some of these off the wall. Doki's in, nade in hand. The question is, when does that man that's down inside the blue make his move? A nade coming up onto the wall, and now they should try and get this wall opened up. Thermite goes off, easy as 1, 2, 3 tip.
Not too bad at all. Now the next job comes along, which is clearing Ask away from the catwalk. They need to get this moved, and then they can keep somebody on the east breach. The rest of the force goes in through garage, and they look for that plant next to the bomb chassis in behind the servers. But they need to be very aware of what's going on underneath, because right now I don't feel like Nesk has been picked up, and he could be a problem. Well, he's just holding on those blue stairs at the minute. There you go. That was the drone that you needed, G2. Great informational game, and now they are aware. They've got Nesk underneath. underneath and that he's a problem, but I love that from Ness. He knows he's been spotted. That's a signal that I'm going to play my life here. You are not moving me. And he's going to put his ADS down to make sure that he can't get naded.
Alamo also getting picked out by resets there, down about 25 HP, far from the end of the world, but worth noting as Ask gets flashed out. Alamo is in underneath, but very mindful, I think, of the support that's coming in from lobby. Almost finds one into the man poking his head out of storage. And Ask challenging onto this door as well. You can see that the war for garage is starting, working his way up the stairs. Alamo gets the opener, and this is the control that G2 were looking for.
Alamo continues his push along catwalk. He's trying to get aggressive in towards site. He's going to open that up, and that is the path now clear. G2, they have their beachhead, they have their position to build from, and they can start to look forward. Neska's taken a lot of damage. Resets, manages to find Virtue elsewhere in the map, but this is an opportunity now. G2, 20 seconds left to go. You've got to think about moving and getting that diffuser inside of sight. The utility continues raining on in. PSK, top of red, could be important. Parlu taking a lot of damage, but he finds it. Prano goes in. He's getting the diffuser down though. There's an Alamo. He's gone deep. He's going to find the kill with the skeleton key. And G2 look like they might take this, but
no.
The diffuser was down.
Prano got killed out, yeah, and then that's kind of scramble and try and get back in, but the damage was done. Liquid found the down there with only 2 seconds left on the clock, and G2 at the last second crumble. But we speak about this a lot, Tim. It's all about the clock. They found that running low a lot on Theme Park. It's happened again here. Prano, where does he die? Oh, less than 1 second on the plant as well. So unfortunate. But Liquid playing it well. They always had resets dancing around the main door. They had players downstairs around storage. Just always with something up their back pockets to catch G2 off guard.
Oh, that's going to sting if you are a G2 player. It was very, very close. Liquid going to take us back down then to Church and Arsenal in round number 3. We saw this, of course, as the first round, and it was extremely well played by G2. A great execute from them. I would imagine we will see more of the same from Team Liquid. I think they need more of a presence out in the map, Des.
Well, Tim.
Just gave up the top 2 floors to G2. It gave them all the time they needed, and they utilised that time very well. So for me, Team Liquid, you've just learnt the lesson effectively. Round 1, you give them a ton of time, G2 do a great execute and win the round. Round 2, you burn them down to 20 seconds, and then they get in, and they don't manage to get the diffuser down, and it all falls apart a bit. You've got to burn the time here.
They've been rubbing that crystal ball on your noggin, I think, Tim, because they've read into your mind there, and that's exactly what they've gone for. The Mute and the Mozzie coming along just screams, get out around the map, roam on the top floor, slow the attackers down, with a little bit of help coming in as well from the Vault. But G2 are saying, look, go as complicated as you like, because we fancy a rush. There is no other reason why you'd have Alamo, and I know that this operator makes a certain sound when that rush kicks off.
Certainly does, and I'll be waiting for it, Des. I'll be waiting for it, as will everybody else. Alamo, he's just relocated himself for the time being. The push comes in, and that's a great entry from Doki once again. He is looking dangerous here on Clubhouse. He's going to take down resets. That's the mirror gone. No, the Mozzie gone. Sorry, he's watching the mirror of PSK. He's just feeding a bit of information. PSK gets 1, can't get 2, as it's Doki again going in and just being that spearhead. Prano, he's getting the diffuser down. Alamo on the blitz, manages to find Ask. It's a 4v2, and the diffuser is planted.
2 plants in 3 rounds. They're looking on fire right now. Ness winning the 1 versus 1, but Doki awakened on this map. He's 5 and 2, gets a 3k in the round, and G2 with 2 thunderous attacks so far.
Looking good on the attack, that much is for sure. That Church and Arsenal, they have got it down. 2 different attacks though, let's note that. They've come in sort of different approaches there. This opening kill there, Doki getting resets, really set them up for it, and then the pressure. This is the thing, if Doki doesn't push in aggressively enough there, PSK probably gets both kills, but he was right on top of him. You don't mind losing that first man, so long as you get the trade. If you've already got the entry, you can do that all round long. Let them have a kill, so long as you trade it out every time, you're going to win, and G2 did 2-1.
Looking good so far, and I know speaking to the players across the event, we catch them in the hotel lobby every now and then, have a bit of a conversation, and they were saying, you know, look, we've got loads of plans, loads of executes we haven't really had the chance to use so far in EUL. We've been saving it for this event, and I feel like we've just seen a couple of those come out, both in the first round and in the third. The third one, much more of a team effort. For Liquid though, let's not take away from them. Again, their map pick. Second half will be a different story, no doubt. They'll have their own plans in mind to make use of attacker repick to bring along the more optimal setup for when they want to push in. And I do want to touch on that last round really quickly, because what we saw was Citizen bringing along the Thatcher. You're probably saying, well, why bring a Thatcher? You're not trying to open things, you're just charging in towards site. It's again, in case there are things blocking their path, they can just chuck an EMP down, charge their way through without really much concern. Cameras get disabled, mute jammers get disabled, multi-pests. They basically won't be hindered when they have that Thatcher on side. It's more again of an insurance choice.
Well, the thing is as well, let's look at the problems that G2 have had. It's generally when they've been low on time. And Thatcher just speeds things up.
Yep.
It just prevents that 30 seconds of having to get round the back, drop a nade in, clear a wall out. He can just literally do it at the push of a button. So Thatcher will definitely be a positive for G2. They're going to be attacking onto Gym and Bedroom. Now then Ask, he's got a dirty little angle here from the garage stairs.
That's gross.
Just watching out towards the rooftop through that garage door and hoping to pick somebody up. But he's going to take a few shots as the bullets are peppered in through that soft wall.
I don't know if Doki was just going in blind there. Now they've got the pings coming in. Oh, and Ask has been found out. Virtue finding him in no time at all, getting a little bit cheeky inside the lower garage there and pays the price for it.
Great opener once again from G2, absolutely dominating the entry here. 4 rounds, 4 kills, and they are coming into every round strong. Citizen, the wall is open in front of him into construction, so again, it's good progress here. Resets is still inside of Cash, which could be a little problem for them, but he's going to get himself stuck if he's not careful, because as he moves into construction, he's got to be aware that wall is open, and as you see, he's being drawn from everywhere. Nade goes in, it's not going to get the kill, does a tickle of damage to PSK, but nothing that's going to make him move out of the bathroom. Doki moves onto that construction window though, and there could be an opportunity for him here.
I think they want to try and pincer in here as well. Doki on one side, Citizen on the other. That team play that was missing back on Theme Park could come alight here. Resets, almost finding the angle, but one is distracted. In comes Citizen, not ADS against Ness, but in comes a drop. Alamo, massive 2K from inside of Logistics. PSK tries to get the kill, but Virtue finds it first. G2 are up 3-1, Tim.
And I know I said we had some G2 fans here, but that is becoming very evident now. As every round goes down, you guys just get louder and louder because the excitement is there. And I know we all want to see a map 3 here. We want to see these two teams really pushing it to the limit. And G2 right now are looking phenomenal on this Clubhouse attack.
And I think Liquid know it as well. Calling in the tactical timeout after 4 rounds. Doesn't quite beat the record we had from, I want to say it was Astralis against BDS.
Yeah, round 1.
They had 1 round on Kafe, had 3 of them jumping out of a window. Rafal killed all 3, like, right, time out, boys. We're calm down.
And it didn't go much better after that either.
No, they did get round 2, but then it was still a 7-2 overall to BDS, who of course we get to see play later. Both of those teams, Astralis against XZ, Oxygen coming up against BDS, Team 1 against Dark Zero. Oh, what a day of games.
It really is stacked. That much is for sure. You want to be careful, Des. We've got a North American audience. You don't want to be reminding them of the 7-2 to Astralis too much.
Absolutely not, but I'm sure they'll be cheering when we get towards the end of the day.
It's been all cheers so far. I don't want us getting booed before the day.
Well, the thing is, I know it's one of those classic like R6 events moments, right, where everyone's been like, 4 North American teams, this is our major, it's going to go far. You just don't know until the games are done and dusted which way this one's really going to end up, so time will tell. But obviously, no NA team here means, at least for now, you retain all 4. Up we go then to Cash and CC, which we last saw back in round 2 and was Liquid's only victory on this map so far.
It was indeed. We'll see whether they can lock it down again. It was just a time factor for G2 more than anything. I think Prano got in there and started to get the diffuser down. But when he was killed, there was just not really enough of a reaction, enough of an adjustment that could be made to make sure that it actually went down and the time was extended. Alamo very nearly did it for them, charging in through sight and just looking for kills, and I think Alamo definitely deserves a shout in this game so far. 7-2 and absolutely flying. Bringing the frags is not something we've always seen him consistently doing for G2. It's not necessarily what he's there to do, but he really is bringing it.
This is the kind of dream that I think everyone had when they saw this G2 lineup coming together, right? Doki's 5-2, Citizen's 5-1, Alamo is 7-2. This was when everyone looked at it and went, you've got Doki and Citizen on the entry, you've got Alamo being this strong midfield for them, then Virtue and Prano, the masterminds behind the operation. This does feel like one of the first times we've really seen it sing compared to what we've not just seen at this competition, but also back in the UL. And let's not forget, this is still a new team. They've only had 1 stage together, but you are starting to see those pieces come together, but it's got to be consistent.
I'd agree, and they're very, very exciting and enjoyable to watch so far here on Clubhouse. Much better from G2, Des. If you remember last time around, it took them about a minute and a half to get that wall open. This time, 40 seconds, because guess who's in the lineup? Thatcher makes it a lot quicker. They haven't had to get underneath, and that has been recognised by G2. We're struggling for time, bring the Thatcher, speed ourselves up.
Well, Liquid haven't even bothered bringing along a Mute or a Bandit. Said, look, that wall is open.
You just don't need to bother with it.
It's going to be open, so just forget about it. Give them the wall. Let's try and bring some other utility that helps. Now, questions to ask there around whether Ask on the Alibi is the go-to utility that you need, but you do still have those Yokai. So I think Liquid here, putting their eggs in the stall basket, let's try and slow G2 down and rely on those Yokais later into the round to help with some denial.
Doki was just having a good search around there. I think concerned that there could be a Yokai drone and not sure whether he was sort of anonymous inside of construction or whether he'd been spotted out or not. Palu just trying to play with that as close to the entrance as he can to see if there's any progress being made towards lower garage. He can feed that information into his catwalk player, then resets, interestingly, out in the map.
I will give it to G2 as well. Drone control this game so far, much better. They were down to like 2 or 3 most rounds on Theme Park. They've just lost 1 here, so they've gone down to 6 rather than 7. But they have a lot more utility out in the map and are actively using it. Look now, Prano, Citizen, both on drones. Alamau also joining them. They are taking that time to pause here and make sure they're scoping out what they're doing rather than trying to walk in blind. Much better.
Doki's gotten himself onto the CCTV window now. There is an alibi decoy in behind there. Yellow Pink's coming in to tell him that the catwalk player is getting aggressive forward. He's going to be able to take out that utility. Knows that there's barbed wire as well now, so has the explosive grenades in hand to be able to deal with that as well. I'm going to sit on the drones for a moment, though, and just make sure at this final stage, exactly that. They're getting ready for that final execute. I'm just a little bit concerned that with 30 seconds left to go, there could be a possibility of us seeing that problem again with time. They haven't cleared catwalk out there. As soon as Doki goes in through this window, should he choose to do so, he's going to be challenged immediately. They have to deal with Ask.
They haven't bothered with Garage at all here yet. In he comes and Doki goes down. Ask with the opener as the rest of the team start their move in. They've got control of Cash. They've got 3 kills. There's a Claymore kill coming in as well. Palu finding something but getting put down. Citizen back on his feet. G2 in a 4 versus 1.
Getting the diffuser down now, Prano, just to extend that time. It's all up to Ness from Catwalk. We've seen him do it before. 1v3, 1v2. Surely not Ness. The plant has been successful. G2 can sit back a little bit now, but they are playing against one of the best. But that doesn't matter to them as Virtue gets that final kill. And that's going to be G2, not only with a successful plant, but with a successful round in CCTV and Cash 4-1.
That is honestly unbelievable as a turnaround from what we saw on the previous map. But Tim, I think everyone, us, me, you, everyone here, their hairs were on end then once Ness found that second kill.
Were they? Were your hairs on end?
I guess.
I think they might have been.
Let's take a second there to go, were they?
Were they? They had to have a little thing.
They were just a little bit, like you just see, you know he can pull off those kind of 4v1s as well, or the 1v4s. I was nervous for a second, but G2, they're not letting them slip today.
If you remember, before the first CCTV round, I commented that Nesk used to play Catwalk. He was the Catwalk player, but now Ask has been playing it and doing a great job of it. But that's why I picked up on it, because I thought if there's an opportunity for Ness to work his way back in from that catwalk, I have seen him do it so many times. 1v3, 1v4, it looks like the round's done, and Ness just wins it from the catwalk. So when those first 2 kills went down, I was thinking, oh, we could be on for something special.
More of a kiddie walk than a catwalk, given the damage they did in that round, Tim. Claw's not quite sharp enough yet to pull off a 1 versus 4, but still plenty of time, both here and potentially on Kafe if we keep going. I was curious if G2 will pull off a little bit of cheese. Smell that, Tim? I'm smelling an Otter and a Yin coming out. This looks like another one of those rounds where they'll be trying something a little bit crazy, a little bit out there. Last time it was the Blitz. Liquid by now, surely, after being hit by 2 of these air quotes rush rounds, should be prepared for what's about to come, though it's very easy to say, yeah, just be prepared for an Otter and a Yin, right?
Be prepared, Des. Just be prepared.
Just forehead, be prepared.
Are you prepared?
Hello?
Just click forward. Just click the head. What's the problem?
Exactly.
I think we're about to see what the problem could be. Palu, top of main stairs. He's been very quiet so far on the Clubhouse game as Palu, 0 and 5, struggling to get himself into things. We've seen him in this position a couple of times. It's been a bit ineffectual, really. G2 have just bypassed it a lot of the time or forced him back down the stairs. G2 just getting themselves ready for the time being. First minute is going by. The drones are out. Still 10 left alive, Des. As you've said, much better on that drone efficiency.
Yeah, literally way better. It's night and day, I think, in many areas of this game so far. in terms of the team play, in terms of the fragging capability, but I said it coming in as well, this map does a label for that. It's a much simpler map. It's again quite checklisty, as many would refer to it as, i.e. get control of this, open that up, clear away this utility, execute. It's not that difficult to play, I don't think, overall. Teams more often than not run out when it comes to time, or if you've got some really wacky stuff being done by the defenders, then your checklist is out the window. You've got to adapt on the fly. Nowhere near as big a map as Theme Park either. Look at that reverse angle as well. Reset's just hoping that Alamau is going to step back across it as he's moving his way through the entirety of the first floor here on the buck again. G2 being very good with the clock.
Citizen being even better with the kills, though. He's going to get the opener onto PSK. Next will find the trade. That's just going to put a little bit of a pause on things.
Hey! Oh.
That's going to put a little bit of a pause on things for G2, as it was a little bit of a catalyst. It was getting them started, but now they're just going to take a step back, take a breath. They've got 1 minute 15 left to go. They really don't need to be throwing everything at this just yet. They can keep building, they can keep the patience, keep clearing the utility.
Absolutely. They're ticking down to this point now where Palu's also a bullet away from death. He's 0-5, Tim. Not been his game at all. The smoke's offline, no C4s in back pocket. You're kind of almost relying entirely on the Yokai to do some work for you here, and I wouldn't be surprised if G2 have got rid of at least one of them on the way through. Hatch still close, though, in the last 45 seconds. G2 do need to start thinking about where this execution is going to come from. By the looks of it, down main stairs is Alamau slowly working his way down here, testing out the waters, seeing if there are any challenges. The answer so far is no.
Well, they've no option to open the kitchen hatch now. All they've got left is one Selma. They can open it partially, but they can't do anything more. I think it's been deployed elsewhere. It has. It's gone on to the Ash Rush spot, so it's looking like they're going to try something here then. Out comes the Candela, but no, Nest perfectly positioned to get the kill onto Doki as he tries to get down that hatch, but Prano, he's got the shield down. He's got an opportunity to make a plant here. This is G2 really trying to make something happen. It's all down to the cover, but no, the kill comes in. Virtue 1v4 shut down by Ash, and that is going to be Team Liquid getting themselves back into things. 2-4 at the half.
Looking better for sure. And I think in that round, G2, once they realized they couldn't get the kitchen hatch opened up, it was okay, boys, what do we do? And that Selma was definitely not intended to go there in the whole strat. It was a nice idea. It got them through the wall and in the spot to be able to get a plant down, but simply didn't have the cover. Started to sweat a little bit for Liquid on that side as well, because I thought, man, you're out of impacts. You've got no way of getting rid of the shield. It could have been disastrous, but Liquid hold on and at least get 2 rounds.
Looking at the entry game there on that first half, there's 5-1 to G2.
Yep.
Really commanding the early rounds, and that is consistent with what we've seen on Theme Park as well. G2 great through that first half, and this time being able to find that final execution, that delivery at the end of the round as well. They're going to switch on to defense now. There's a bit of me that's just, I really want to see G2 get out into the map here. Don't let Liquid settle down. They've been doing so well at getting aggressive in the early round, taking those entry kills and staying on top of Team Liquid, that I want them to continue it. Don't take your foot off the gas. We'll see if that's the setup for Church and Arsenal.
This is where you start to feel nervous, right? Because again, attacker retake has given attackers a lot of creativity and ability to swing things in their favor quite aggressively. You know, don't be shocked if Liquid find themselves 2-3 rounds on the bounce here and G2 are left gasping for air, as potentially Liquid could take the series 2-0. Forever the pessimist, Tim, or call it a realist if you really want to. At least out on the roam for G2 is Alamau starting things off on the Valkyrie. C4 in hand, looking to maybe get cheeky onto the window if someone dares try and peek their way through. But looking at all those, all the outlines throughout the map, Tim, Liquid are quite scattered right now, completely around the map. A couple out towards Strip. You've got one up inside construction, one up on the CC wall platform as well, looking to work their way forwards, but you know, they can still make this work. They've got to get this top floor cleared out first and foremost.
Power breach is going to go onto the wall. Thatcher EMP is going to enable that to be open despite the mute jammer, so that is going to be Liquid being able to make a little bit of progress from the east side, and Virtue decides enough's enough. I'm not going to be sticking around too long up there. He's going to drop the hatch back into bar and work his way back towards the waiting Alamau on main stairs. So still out in the map here, G2, to a degree. Not as aggressive as some teams that we see. And Alamau nearly losing his life. Not aware that Palu had got in there so quickly on the sledge. And that was a real opportunity for Team Liquid.
I wonder if they heard the C4. It's just been pulled. I was going to say, I wonder if they heard the C4 get thrown and therefore started to look for it. So I think Alamau's pulled it just preemptively there, just in case. You'd rather it go off than not in this case. Didn't find anyone, but on the off chance it did, never a bad call. Still 5 versus 5 then halfway through the round, looking for Alamau to get back alive. G2 are all back on site, so for Liquid, same point to them again. Now that it's clear, it's on you to notice that and start making things happen.
Corno's just going to be cycling through those camps, trying to get whatever information G2 can here, but they've still got half of the round to go, and playing from inside the side not going to be easy. It's something that they were able to take advantage of, was being given that time, and Liquid will certainly be looking to do the same. A little bit limited in terms of hard breach utility here, Liquid. They've got one left on the book, and they've got the Selmas, so the Hatchers could be a little bit of a problem for them. It could be a sticking point. They may have to make their choices as to exactly what they're going to open. Marloon continuing to open that floor above the heads of the defenders, but right now G2 feeling fairly comfortable inside a side.
They're not too phased yet, but they have been forced away, right? Now the backside of Arsenal's completely clear because of the verticals. Alamar, you can't forget, is quite low. Virtue. You don't want to get Doki'd here, my man. You don't want to drop it through the hatch, of course, in trouble. So Doki stepping across to give some support. Ask a little bit of a whip here coming in, but out comes the Skeleton Key, making some skeletons of his own. 2 kills coming in, 3 versus 2 for Liquid. They find another, resets 2 huge kills inside of blue. Citizen, Nesk had his chance at a 1vx. Is this yours?
He's all for turn to do now. He's got the red pings, he's got the information, he takes the shot, he misses though. He's trying to step round, he's on the Malusi, he's got the weapon in hand to be able to do this. He gets one. That's the down. It's a 1v2, he switches to the pistol. Can he find another at the boxes? He's dancing around in circles, but surely not. They know exactly where he is, and Recess is able to find that final kill, and Team Liquid successful on their first basement attack.
Dare I say there, red ping's working a little bit against Citizen, because the problem is when the red ping comes out, of course, it doesn't move with the individual. It notes where they were, and he expected to be stepping across a little bit slower, swung a bit too far wide in that 1 versus 1 gunfight. I'll give it to Resets though. Big round from him. Those 2 kills to make it 3 actually coming out with that final one coming in onto Citizen as well. Liquid keep the game going.
Certainly alive is this one with Team Liquid getting that round. G2 going to be not desperate for a round here, but you just feel like they really want this. If they can get themselves 5-3 and just keep that little bit of breathing space, it's going to mean an awful lot to them. They're going to be going up to gym and bedroom to try to do so. We're likely to see them reinforcing on. We've got Alamau on the mirror, so we'll probably see the bathroom mirror with the half wall opened up so that he can peek out onto Jacuzzi should it get opened. Which side is he going to play? Alamau's having a little think about it there.
You saw him doing.
But you could hear the hesitation from me because I thought, Alamau, that's the wrong side. Don't do that. But he is going to switch over to the other side and put the mirror window on. We'll also see Akash and CCTV presence, I would expect. They won't want to give those windows up too easily.
Alamau's quite a lovable character. I imagine everyone's heard the story. If not, you're about to hear it again. The other day, Citizen was in a 1 versus 2, and he gets the first kill, and Alamau thinks they've won the round. He just goes, nice, 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 and someone had called out where Eclipse was. And Eclipse won the 1v1, obviously, because Citizen didn't hear the call, because Alamau was screaming down comms. It's just one of those, bless him. Always smiling. Look at him even now.
He is. He's always a positive character. Round number 8 is underway then. 30 seconds in, and Liquid are still doing their due diligence. They're on the drones, and they're just checking out what is going on ahead of them. PSK looking to get in and get that garage wall open quite quickly from Catwalk, just to prevent any presence inside a CCTV, move any aggressive defenders back into cash, and then they can start pushing forward from there. Alamau holding a key position here at the top of red stairs. He's got the shield, he's got 2 ADSs. He needs to hold on to this for as long as possible, but he's dipped away for the time being, and that's it, forced out. He had Ness pushing him from the bottom of the stairs, and Liquid have dealt with that so rapidly.
I will also give a nod towards Alamar. Knowing when to leave here is always the hardest thing, because as soon as you lose control of Catwalk, they have a line straight onto Cash Door. You want to retreat through there, you'll get cut down. We've seen it happen so many times in EUL, where they'll have 2, maybe 3 players out on the roam, and 2 will try and run through the door, only to get sprayed down by the man that's holding that long angle. It's a really dicey extended hold that's kind of built around that single point of like exit. You can try and go down red stairs, but you don't know what's down there. You don't know if someone's inside a storage or holding front door. You are very much pincered in. So for many, it's kind of a stay and fight for your life, but at least on G2's side, Alamau has got out in one piece.
Just opening up those vertices. It's going to drop away, actually, all the way down into basement here. And
the rats, here we go.
This is it. If Team Liquid don't pick this up, it could be a real round ender for them. I think that's what G2 may just be looking for, is trying to get themselves an opportunity to be able to push themselves up from the basement, hit the flank, and just really do Liquid some damage. They're not always doing the best when they're on defense of meeting Liquid head-to-head. Liquid tending to come out on top in those situations. So G2 maybe just trying to work an alternative.
I would love to see Citizen get underneath here with that C4 in back pocket. We know that he's in the basement. He can threaten inside a kitchen, but no doubt the calls must be coming in that, hey, they're downstairs, they're threatening me. Citizen, where are you? Where's that C4 in back pocket? Nesk quite smartly dipping out here and keeping himself safe. And Citizen is waiting for the hatch. Now working his way back up. Resets and Doki exchanging blows, both down to about 10 HP.
He's going to hold on for as long as possible, but that won't be very long at all as Resets gets the first kill of the round, but that is 2 minutes 40 gone. Ask manages to find Citizen. There will be no flank. Alamo manages to get the kill onto Ask. Parley looking to push up those main stairs. G2 just trying to hold on. That's Reset's gone. Prano, PSK managing to find Virtue. This is going to be a race against the clock for Team Liquid 2v2. G2 holding on right now.
No way!
Alamo finds a big kill, and there goes Prano, and there goes G2. It is now 5-3 inside a Clubhouse, and G2 are just edging closer and closer to map 3.
Prano and Alamal take a bow. A 2 versus 4 being pulled back from what felt like the brink. All starting here as well. Just good awareness, because once we saw Palu charge up those main stairs, run through the smoke. We've seen that a couple of times so far this major, Tim. You know, teams are very happy now to just say, look, they think it's safe, but it's not a thick brick wall, it's gas we can run through. Very fortunate that G2 reacted in time. They move up to 5-3. And now, Tim, we go towards one of my favorite sites to watch in the game. It's Bar and Stage.
Bar and Stage, the first time that we saw this competitively, I think it's worth noting, is it was from Doki. Back when he was on Na'Vi, they were the first team to pick it up and take it competitively when it was reworked, and they did a fantastic job of it. Doki, I think on the day, was playing down in the basement. He had the basement roll and hit the nitro up through the hatch when the plant tried to go down on Bar. So I'm sure that he will have brought with him a very good understanding of just how this site works and how to defend it. You're going to see G2 trying to really hold on to that top floor. There's going to be some very key gunfights up there, particularly around cash and construction. If Team Liquid can get in and get themselves established in there, it gives them a lot of opportunity to move into sight, onto the stage, through the double door, and to get that diffuser down and active.
Hear that thud of the shotgun around the whole arena.
It's great, isn't it? It's fantastic.
It is great.
The thing is, like, we've done sort of venues before, but the sound system's never been as big because it hasn't needed to be, because there hasn't been an audience. But this time, we've got you guys to thank for being able to feel the shotguns and everything else throughout the arena.
It's great. Every time I'm just like, ugh.
It's fantastic.
Shaky feet, shaky feet. IQ finally being brought along, by the way. We spoke about G2 running a lot of Valkyrie back on Theme Park. Liquid did not take the bait, never moved away to bringing along the IQ. But as soon as the Yokais get added in, clearly saying and acknowledging, right, okay, boys, fair play. We need the IQ. We need to get rid of those cameras. We don't want to be disrupted on the roam or so much on the site once we start moving in.
Alamo in this same position again at the top of red stairs. He's going to be trying to hold off. Last time Nesk was able to move underneath, but Nesk this time is off at the far side of the map. He's got work to do elsewhere, so Alamo has been able to hold on for a lot longer here. And as I said, the key gunfights are potentially going to come around cash because they need to get construction. The hatch will be open, and that gives the defenders the opportunity to deny any plant. So that is a real battleground here. Team Liquid, the drones are going in, still not confident about exactly who is where and whether they are free to move in yet.
Still having a massive fight here over the east side of the map. It's not amazing for Liquid. Bearing in mind, again, this is a bar stage setup. You need to get control of gym bedroom, so you've got the verticals, but it's taken them 90 seconds just to get any kind of control inside of Cash and CC. Not the most ideal start, and this could literally be what sees them not winning the round, Tim.
I think the problem for G2 here, or a potential problem, is that they have been pushed back out of construction, I think. So whilst Team Liquid haven't even had anybody established in CCTV and Cash, G2 have given up that ground and they've moved away from construction rather than keeping themselves in there to burn a little bit more time. But it's always that dangerous dance between burning time and saving lives. And right now, G2 have decided on the latter, but they know that Alamo is there. Team Liquid have got him pinned. They know he's looking for that flank up blue stairs. Alamo, I think it's time to maybe drop away. You're likely to lose your life rather than get a successful flank.
At this point, though, you're just wasting their time even further. Ness putting all of his focus downstairs means Alamar can just keep on running around. I think he was trying to play the thing we spoke about, right? Doki's style of denial with that C4 coming up through the hatch. He still has control of basement. Nesk has no support in clearing it out, so Ask's got to come through. A great pull down onto the head of Virtue. Palu gets his first kill of the map, and never thought I'd be saying that in round 9. Doki comes in for the trade as well. Alamar, oh, a shot through the stop wall finds the man. Resets, an instant response coming in. Prano on about 5 HP. I don't think he's got any yokais, Tim. I lie, he's on the yokais here. They've also got the vertical. One blast coming in. Can they get rid of the drone in time? Doki gets another. Can they hold on here? Prano gets it on again. G2 hold on. The yokais doing the work for them. And they get another round from the jaws of defeat.
A lot of excitement on the side of G2 there, and a little bit of relief. A little bit of relief too, I would imagine. Had everybody here hanging on the edge of their seats as to whether those yokai drones could survive, whether they could hold on, and whether they could deny that plant. Team Liquid just having to go back to the drawing board a little bit here, struggling to get anything going on the attack. And G2, it was close, but they held on to bar.
Prano as well, a slither of HP, literally with 1 HP on the yokais.
1 HP in a dream.
Oh, isn't it just? We spoke about it at the round start with the IQ being brought in as well. Valkyrie and the Echo, just too much as a combo. You need to get rid of them. And I spoke about that 100 seconds being burnt around Cash and CC would just mean they were going to be time start in the late round. And that's exactly what you saw.
Church and Arsenal it will be for the potential final round of Clubhouse here as G2, they just need one more to take us all the way to Kafe, all the way to that decider, and all the way to, I'm sure, what will be a thriller between these two teams.
Give me it all. I'm a best of 5 at this point, Tim. Take me all the way through.
I can watch these two all day with the way that they've been playing, but I'm just going to put it out there. Imagine if we start getting towards round 12 on map 3. That is going to be one hell of a finish to this first quarterfinal.
So you and I got to cast Damwon Kia versus FaZe back in Sweden. That came down to a 1v1 round 15, map 3. It was ludicrous. Your voice was gone. I was a puddle mess on the floor. It's one of those, and I'm really hoping we get that out of this as well. The teams hate it, but we all absolutely love it.
That's what we're here for. Virtue up on that top floor there. He's going to be trying to waste time. He's inside of Jim at the moment, and he's got his rotation through, so he can move around quite freely here. The east wall is going to be breached, and the top floor clearance will start to come in from Team Liquid. But I'm going to guess that Virtue's probably got that hatch open as well that will allow him to drop to billions. There goes Doki, almost finding Nest. A long-range angle there, just through the top floor, but he's been shut down, and that's a great play from Team Liquid, using that information, getting in and taking down the Malusi.
Absolutely. They had a three-way pincer as well, right up through the garage door. That's a wonderful, sorry, garage wall, sorry. That's where you can see why you open up that lower wall. You get a wonderful angle onto Catwalk. They had the breach open as well, and all it needed was a third man to swing in from garage. Wonderful bit of team play coming out of Liquid.
It was fantastic. Virtue, he's going to just scurry away there and get himself hidden inside of logistics for the time being. And once again, it's this process of trying to get drones through, trying to clear out. Is Virtue that guy? I think there's... I think he's not. I think he might not be that guy.
No, resets, creeping in. They got the ping in, sees the foot. Everyone loves a toe snap. In it comes and down goes Virtue. 5v3.
He was not that guy.
He was not that guy, Tim.
5v3.
I'm never that guy in ranked either.
No,
I can't do that.
I'm that guy. That's exactly what happens to me. 5 versus 3 now. Team Liquid have got control of the top floor. They've got themselves a man advantage, and they are looking like they're sitting pretty here inside of round number 10. It's going to be down to G2 to hold on, but Des, we've seen them do it. We've seen them be able to win these rounds from a disadvantage, but there's also time on the side of Team Liquid here. They've still got a minute to continue working, to continue softening up these defenders.
They've got a yellow ping. They know the drop's coming through. When does the C4 come out is the next question. The drop's still not yet in. The call will come through from the Valkyrie cam. C4 over, almost a double, but finds one. It's back to a 3 versus 3. Can G2 pull it out here and now, or can Liquid hold on?
Diffuser is down on the ground. Resets is looking to make his move from blue. He's going to take a little bit of damage. Alamo gets another onto Parlu, and this is now going in the favour of G2. Toxic Babe canisters burning more time. 25 seconds left to go, and they just need to hold on, Des. They just need to hold on to take us to a map 3. Prano, he's got himself tight against the wall inside of Church. But there goes Resets. He finds one. He's got an opportunity to put this down. It's all up to the cover from Nesk. If anybody can do it, you know he can. He's going to find Prano. It's 2v1. All of a sudden, Alamo with diffuser planted has to find 2 kills. Can he do it? He gets one. Surely he doesn't get the second. He switches to shotgun. No! Resets is able to find the kill. And that's going to be Team Team Liquid taking us to another round on Clubhouse.
You just saw the story being written there. The Brazilian bringing down Team Liquid would have been a wonderful end to Clubhouse, but they hold on at least for another round. 6-4, and what a round that was as well. The Valkyrie cameras really showing again why you should be bringing the IQ in these kind of situations, because Citizen almost found a wonderful 2K with that C4, and imagine if he'd found resets inside of blue. An extra half a second later, resets goes down, that 4K never happens.
Absolutely not. Resets just coming up absolutely huge when Liquid needed him then. But you got to give a little shout to Nesk on the cover as well. Great play to get that kill onto Prano and just allow resets to complete that plant and get the diffuser down, because without that, the round maybe looks a little bit different. But what a performance from Team Liquid we're having here to hold on. They don't want to go to 3. They want to get this done here and now. They want their spot in the semi-final. I thought, Des, my heart was racing when I walked in here this morning. It is absolutely nothing compared to what it's doing now.
I can't wait to check my heart rate later and see what's been going on, because that round there...
There'll definitely be a spike around round 10.
One worth checking back for sure. Let's see then how this setup goes inside of gym and bedroom. Now, as a reminder, Liquid, it took about 100 seconds to burn through this extended hold last time around, and it wasn't pretty. They ran out of time trying to push into bar and stage. This isn't the same site, but it's still the same amount of ground that you need to cover in order to get anywhere near gym and bedroom in the first place. So much so that G2 have committed 3 members out towards this hold. Everything will make or break on 1, whether or not G2 can get away from this with all 3 still alive, or 2, if Liquid can break it in good time.
I say Team Liquid just needing to speed things up a little bit here on the east side of Take, get everybody moved, and then they've got a little bit more time to put that pressure onto site. Alamo at the top of red stairs again. He was on the mirror last time around, but this time he's going to be on the Aruna. He's got a laser gate in front of him as well. That's just going to try to keep him safe and just burn more of those throwables. ADSs, laser gates, everything, just trying to keep him in position. But last time around, Liquid just circumvented it, and they sent Nesk up red stairs, and it meant that he was pushed away. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case immediately.
Absolutely, still holding Tim. We're about that 60-second mark now, and they haven't really made amazing progress. They've started to move their way forwards, but I think it's about time those grenades start singing, or the impact start coming out. Alamal being concussed, but still able to hold firm for now. The laser gate being gone. The Bolt comes over. Does Alamal know? I think the concussion will have blocked the sound from him. He doesn't know that Acid's coming in for a swing. Up they come up red. Virtue gets the trade back, but it's still not looking good. Doki coming up from the basement as well, lurking out like a rat. But Palu, he is the rat trap, and down goes Doki.
Snap shut on the head of Doki as he finds that kill, and that's Team Liquid now 4 versus 2, and they are finding some real momentum here. Virtue, Prano, we've seen them do it before, and they're going to have to step up and do it again if they want to take this map here and now for G2. 2v4 and an absolute age of time working against them. This is not going to be easy for the G2 pair to hold on. Liquid just taking a little bit of a pause here. They're on the drones, just letting that pressure rise. There's no rush for Team Liquid.
There isn't, no. They've got the Ying, they've got the Candelas for days, Tim. There are still 3 smokes in Prano's back pocket, so the further this time runs away from them, the more it could start stinging a little bit here. Impact immediately coming out. Virtue contemplating a swing here. Just a wonderful Hibana-sized hole being opened up on this wall now. And I think Virtue knows someone's coming. Just a question of when to go for the swing. Oh! Good night, PSK. Sit down.
Great kill from Virtue. Palu manages to find Prano. 1v3 now. Virtue, he has the outer, but he does not have the kills. As Reset's able to close that round out, and that's going to be Team Liquid now, taking us all the way to 12, Des.
They've pulled 2 back, but this does mean now G2 have the full range of choice of where they want to play this next round. Do we see a repeat down to Church and Arsenal, or do we step in towards bar and stage? You know, the last 3 times now we've seen Church and Arsenal, Liquid have won. 1 of those on attack, 2 on defense, and by the looks of it, G2 do want to go down into the basement, but understandably, once again, the same as they did in the very last round of the last map, this is where they call their tactical timeout and have a bit of a chat.
Well, we are on the cusp, Des. As you say, coming into the tactical timeout, this could well be going the full distance here. I want to prime everybody that if we do get to that point and Liquid are winning the round, we want a little bit of participation. The line will be, we go into overtime, Des. I'll count you in if I'm going to do it.
I'll count, you say.
Yeah, and then everybody can get involved, and we'll have everybody get involved in announcing.
It's like what happens if there's like 2001
It's going to be the ultimate.
Tims.
It's going to be the ultimate. We're going to overtime. That's what I'm planning. That's what I want.
And what you guys don't know, that'll be his ringtone afterwards as well.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Just clip. Honestly, I can only imagine your phone going off and just being like, "We're going to overtime, Des," and I'll be like,
with
honestly,
everybody here in the background as well involved.
phenomenal. So you've got a chance to be Tim's ringtone, basically. So let's go for that.
There we go. 6-5 it is to G2 as we head into round 12. They're going down to Church and Arsenal, and G2 desperately going to want to close this one out. They do not want to face any overtime. And just to add a little bit of spice, there's a little bit of tension. We're going to get a rehost as well that's just going to extend that tactical timeout pause by a little bit longer with the following technical pause.
Well, we know where we're heading at least, though, Tim, and we know roughly what lineups we've seen just come through there for a second as well. I think, if nothing else, it gives G2 that extra little bit of extension time here to figure out what have they got to do to get this over the finish line, because you know full well if they're going into overtime, they're sweating. Because you find Liquid get to pick what side of the map they start on, for one, but also the fact that you've lost 3 rounds on the bounce. You start to sweat, things start to not go as well, communication dries up, and that's when Liquid could 2-0 this after what? You know, probably 2 rounds ago, looked like a 7-3 victory to G2. It looked like they were about to take it over. The teams would have stomped each other on their respective map picks, and then Kafe would be the ultimate decider. Please, Liquid, please, don't take that away from us. We want that 3rd map.
Team Liquid do not, Des. Team Liquid just want to get the job done. They want to move on to the semi-finals. That is, of course, the prize that awaits the winner here is that semi-final spot. It's one of the last 4 teams then at the Charlotte Major, and they'll be waiting to see what happens in the Dark Zero game to see who they will be facing against. Dark Zero or Team 1, of course. The winner of this will be waiting for. I'm so excited for the next 3 games across the day as well. I just know that it is going to continue at this sort of tempo, this sort of heat. It's just going to be absolutely ingrained into every single one.
How hot is it here
It is warm today. We've got a lot of people in this room.
I guarantee you, everyone here is like, what are you idiots talking about? In the UK, we kind of, if we're lucky, we get over 20 degrees.
Yeah, that's a hot
I'll tell you what, I
summer's
can't
day.
even I think this works at about 70 Fahrenheit. Like, we don't get much higher than that.
I can't do the maths on. It's a
I'm
weird
going by what
conversion
my
because
AC
it's not.
says in my room.
Yeah, it's a weird conversion because it's not sort of
No, it's not a direct
straightforward. But yeah, it's very warm for us here in Charlotte. Very humid as well. It's very. You walk outside, you feel like you could chew on the air. It's like really, really thick.
You fancy a midday snack, Tim?
Yeah.
Just bite the sun.
It's very, very
That's
thick
another
and
classic
humid,
Tim sound effect then. Love it. It has been very, very warm. And
Whoever
it is a
thought
little
that
bit
I'd be
today.
making sound effects ringing out
Well,
around an
what we
arena
have, we've had the
full of
whole
people?
thing before as
I
well.
know, but not in this sort of setting, Des.
Not on a stage, no.
Not in this sort of
No,
environment.
that's very true, very true.
We're getting everybody loaded back in. We've almost got there.
8
We've
out of 10.
just got a couple left to go. As soon as we've got everybody ready to go and primed, we'll get back into this one. It is Clubhouse. It is 6-5 to G2. If you're just joining us, this is the 2nd map of the 1st quarter-final here at the Charlotte Major. G2 losing out on their choice, which was Theme Park in map number 1. Team Liquid able to take that. If you look up at the top of your screen, you'll be able to see what's going on with the maps there. We've got a wonderful overlay from our even more wonderful production team. They'll keep that updated, and we can see exactly where we're up to and where we're going to go, which will be Kafe if G2 get this round done.
Yeah, sometimes I turn around and look at this big pillar and just think climbing wall.
You fancy getting yourself up there, Des?
No.
I think everybody would cheer you on.
They've been cheering a lot when I fell.
Which would be inevitable.
And then I get up and I'm okay, and they're like, oh. And no one cheered. We'll see, though. It is a climb still for G2 in round 12. I know we're getting back into it in just a second, guys. We are all in the server, so things should be back underway very, very shortly. And when we are, we get to see this epic conclusion of this tale for G2. Do they take it to map 3, or do they not?
We're going to find out. I love what we've seen so far from G2. If we bring it back to the game a little bit, G2, particularly on their attacking half, really look like a cohesive team unit. They have on the defensive well. They've been able to cover for each other, but they're just lacking a little bit in the trades at the minute for me. We're seeing G2 quite often Liquid get in, and it's 4 versus 3, 4 versus 2, and the kills just rain in and sort of domino, and G2 are unable to really halt them or to get them trades where they were absolutely fantastic on the attack at doing things at the same time, pushing and attacking. Prano's just telling us in the old chat, casters start.
Do you want to press the button, mate?
I'll press the button, and we can get back into this.
In we go once more then. Let's see how things shake up for G2. This is your last chance saloon. Well, It's not, because you got overtime. But you just know if you go in there, Liquid are carrying that momentum
Yes.
after 3 straight round wins. They've had a bit of time to chat. It is going to be a repeat of Church, Arsenal. You cannot change the site once we've already gone in once. And in terms of the lineup, Tim, this is where I'm expecting a little bit of spice here, especially on the attacking side. We've seen Liquid roll out with that Capitao already. We saw it inside of Blue when C4 tossed in that fateful C4 that didn't connect onto resets that led to him getting a 4K. Just small things like that. The reliance on the smoke isn't always everything it's cracked up to be.
Absolutely not. So we're going to be getting into things now. The lobby is complete. The players have chosen their operators. The site is locked. And we go into round number 12. It could be the last that we see on Clubhouse or Des. It could be just the beginning as we may well head to 3 more. Church and Arsenal will be the last stand for G2 here as they try to hold on. We last saw them defend it back in round 10. It was very close. It came down to a 2v2 at the end. Resets able to get the plant, and then the final 1v1, Alamau versus Nest, but Liquid, they were able to get the win. Can they do it again?
I've got to ask the question now because any other time would be highly inappropriate. Is it Des we're going to overtime or we're going to overtime Des?
We're going to overtime Des.
I'm at the end, got it.
Yes.
Just so I understand.
That's the
And
line.
they understand.
That's the line.
You can say it at home if you want.
I hope everybody does. I have absolutely faith, total faith in this audience to get that right.
We shall see. Time will tell. Right, downstairs in the basement is most of G2. Citizen running upstairs to kick things off. Those cameras, all but one, currently out scattered around the map. And the Easter egg hunt begins for the side of Liquid, who want to be dealing with those. Now, the one that you just saw him tossing behind the main stairs, sort of like light that's on the wall, I think we've seen that come from Kayak back when he used to be on G2. They'd always be putting them on those main stairs, like behind the lights. And hopefully Liquid get a read into that.
Nesk's just going to hold the angle onto the window there. He doesn't want any early aggression coming out of G2. It's one of those positions where, you know, maybe you roll the dice, maybe you give it a go, but I think G2, they're going to be too cautious for that. Resets is moving quite quickly across that top floor there. He's going to be supported by Palu and Nesk very, very soon, I think, but he's continuing to try and hunt down these roamers, but for the time being, he's not going to find anybody because G2 look like they've dipped away under the pressure.
Yep. No mute and no Mozzie on side as well means that really this should be a pretty rapid clear for Liquid. A drone can just roll straight through the top floor, but just to be safe, you've already been stung by Doki on the Vigil. Thinking about it back on Theme Park, you want to make sure you are checking every single corner and not just walking into your demise as you assume that top floor is clear. But with that done, we are halfway into the round. It's about this point when we saw G2 start swinging the hammer on the attacking side, or the book getting to work, and they're going to start exactly the same here once again. So half the round still to go, Tim, and they've just started their setup.
Mentally, this must be very tough for G2. They know that they need this round. All 5 of them down inside Des, and all they can do is sit and wait at this point. They know that Team Liquid have got an age to work around them, to soften up those defenses, and it gets closer and closer to them. They start hearing the hatches being opened. They start having the ceiling disappearing from above their heads, and they know that that decision point is coming in the very near future. We're heading in towards the final minute. Liquid have done a lot of their preparation. They've got hatches open. They've got the angles that they want. They're doing that final drone-in phase to make sure they know exactly what the G2 defense looks like, and then will come the final push.
They've got the ADS as well, just down by this vending machine to the south. That covers the shield that Virtue's got on the other side of him, but Resets is working his way forward. Does anyone know? Will anyone swing? Nest in with the entry. What a flick from Resets! Finds Virtue, but Alamau did trade one back. It's not all over for G2 yet, but it's not looking amazing, Tim.
Doki just going to hold his angle onto Blue there. Nade comes in, might just force him back. No, he stays there. Ask, he manages to get one. Citizen trades it out. G2 holding on to just the slimmest of threads right now as they try to keep themselves in this one, try to keep themselves with the map. But Palu, he's getting the plant down. The cover is there from PSK on the main door. Resets on Blue. They're trying to keep him off, and Palu is able to successfully get it. But Doki, he gets one. It's now a 2v2. Citizen, he gets Palu, and this could be it from G2. They need to get this final kill. It's all up to PSK. He's got the vertical. How many times have we seen him win these positions? He gets one. It's now a 1v1. Citizen, he has to deal with PSK.
Why would you try and fight him? You can sit that behind the wall and force him to drop down on you. C4 comes out, hoping he'll shoot it away. Oh, Citizen tries, but PSK, the 1v2 comes out. Tim,
3,
coming to that
2,
time.
1. We're going to overtime, Des. This is going all the way. We are going to see Team Liquid versus G2 on Clubhouse get to the very end. Every single round is what we want.
Hindsight is always 20/20, Tim, but I don't understand why you want to challenge that angle. You can defuse from behind the wall without him having the access to you. He's forced to drop. Stick a man on main stairs, just watch towards the hatch, and you get the kill as he drops through. Potentially another last round slip-up coming out of G2 there that forces this game onwards, and again, that will be the moment they rue if this map goes to Liquid.
It certainly will be. We're going to be going down to Church and Arsenal as the first defensive site for Team Liquid. And there we are, the G2 fans turning up, and that is what they need. They need you guys to get even louder for them because they need every bit of support they can get on every single kill here, because right now, Team Liquid have the momentum. Team Liquid are in the driving seat as far as this one is concerned, but Team Liquid have gone back to Church and Arsenal, a site that they struggled with. They lost it twice, Des.
But Tim, they've won it 4 times in a row since then. 1 on defense, 3 times on the attack. They're feeling it, trust me.
They're going to have to feel it here in round number 13 as the top floor defense will be evident as Nesk is up there on the Malusi. He's going to be trying to waste as much time. Can G2 complete that clearance as quickly and efficiently as Team Liquid did?
You'd hope so. I mean, at this point, you're pushing your way through. You've got a Vigil, you've got a Mute to deal with. There are some tools to impede you here. No Mozzie, so it's not as tragic as it could have been. That's currently holding out inside a strip as well, working his way back through, but I thought he might just try and rat himself out here a little bit and try and cause some damage later into the round. It's only 40 seconds in, mind you, so at this point, a lot of freedom to move around. Nesk sat inside a bedroom, and I think G2 are aware that he is present. They've got the breach opened up and basically are, for the most part, ignoring the east side of the map entirely. All their focus going directly onto Gym Bedroom, where you've got 3 members of Liquid ready to greet you.
That's it. Liquid really committed to this top floor and burning as much time, and basically I think that's just recognising where G2's weakness was on attack, and it was playing against the clock. As you can see, they've really gambled on this. Doke, he's got himself established inside a gym. If the first couple of kills can go to G2, it could be big, but no! Nesk able to shut down Doke, but Citizen at the same time manages to find that nade kill onto Parlu. 4 versus 4.
Probably some questions to ask around why you'd even try and swing that hole without ADS on the go. You knew he was about 10 meters away. You had red pings coming through, but Doki pays with it with his life. Nesk, a wonderful shot back on the other side. Tim, again, the thing is, this is all around the top floor. This is nothing to do with the site itself. G2 have been impeded on this downstairs attack for the first time.
Resets. He's still able to play around Cash and CCTV for the time being. Chooses not to take the drone down. Just going to leave that in place, wanting to maybe keep himself a little bit undercover there, a little bit anonymous maybe, hoping that he hasn't been spotted out. Alamai Virtue, G2 just seem to have lost a little bit of direction here, Des. We've got a minute left to go. They haven't really even started working on the on-site defences at the minute. There are 3 members of Liquid away from site, but with the main stairs still available, they could work their way down. Citizen catches Nesk on a hop over, but Ask is there for the immediate trade, and that is something that Liquid have done so well so far, is to keep that man count level.
Well, you stripped away Citizen, who's on 4 and 2 since the rehost. They're also playing the Iana and the Finker, 2 big operators with 2 big guns to go pushing in. So instead, this comes down to the backline. It's Prano and Virtue joined by Alamau to try and bring this round over the finish line. But there's still 2 C4s in the back pocket of Liquid, Tim. Those could be the round maker for Liquid. There we go.
It finds the kill with the first. That's going to be Prano taken down. 15 seconds left to go. And this is real bite the bullet stuff for G2 now. They just have to take the drop. Virtue gets 1, but Ask manages to find Alamau. 7 seconds left to go. 2 kills to find, but no! Ask is able to find the final kill. And Team Liquid, they have themselves a series point opportunity.
Round 14. It's 4 in a row now for Liquid is the issue, Tim. I said about it before we came into overtime. 3 on the bounce against G2. You're starting to forget what winning feels like, and it showed in that round a bit. Running out of time. Too much time being invested in the roam clear. Liquid 1 round away from booking their spot in tomorrow's semi-finals.
The G2 fans doing everything they can to hype up their team here. We've got flags waving, we've got chants going. And they need every bit of that support because it is now or never at the Charlotte Major for G2. This is the decisive round, or the first of 2 potentially decisive rounds for them, as they have to hold on. They find themselves now on the defense, and they choose their last standers to be CCTV and Cash.
One of those, again, I referred to it earlier, it's one of those go-to sites in Siege, one of the most recognizable. for the side of Liquid. No doubt that focus should be East Breach open, then either focus on Garage or again coming in from Construction. We saw a little bit of difference in the second half of the game, though, where we did have Liquid come bursting their way up red stairs and really did a lot of damage from that spot. It was against the extended hold, but they showed they could play from below. And equally, G2 are going pretty hard on their lounge hold downstairs, reinforcing off Garage. Castle barricades being scattered around as well. This screams to me, no doubt you're going to see C4s being played in from below. Alamau could employ the shield on the downstairs, more likely to maybe see it on red. In fact, there's already one there. So yeah, I think that shield should go on the downstairs.
I love what I'm seeing from both of these teams in the overtime days. It's almost like we've got two brand new teams playing. They've come in and they've just done like completely different strats to what we've seen through the regulation time. Liquid, first of all, with 4 men on top floor for a Church and Arsenal defense. Now we've got the lounge hold coming out from G2. It's like they're really just throwing everything at the wall here. They're just really trying to do something, anything that can take them over the line. We're going to have a player drop, so we'll have a quick rehost there. That'll be a new setup for G2, I would imagine.
It's that kind of question you have to ask yourself now. Obviously, they've seen what the setup is. They've had a chance of throwing it out. For now, at least we'll play on as we go.
Well, we're waiting on the, obviously. It's because we're so far into the game. Obviously, we'll see what the call is. But for the time being, we continue. And Alamau is going to be playing up at the top of red stairs, just trying to hold on. He's going to be supporting Citizen, and Citizen will be supporting him. They're going to be working as a pair together to try and keep everybody outside of the lounge area, keep that locked down.
Absolutely, they will. Still holding around red here as well. Main breach being opened up. Should keep things going now. But in for the Terror as well, and it connects. That's going to be the ADS is going. The one still sat on the backside here towards the stairs itself will stay intact. But it's all about G2 holding off this breach. They've got to stop this onslaught coming in. But no doubt you'll see members of Liquid start to rotate away as well.
That's it. Alamau now just trying to hold on to that line of sight for as long as possible. And the Rotero is going to open up the line of sight from Jim, so the pressure is going to start to mount on Doki inside of Construction. But exactly, G2 just really spread out here. It's allowed Liquid to get themselves inside of Garage. They've got the catwalk, they've got the East Breach Des, they've got everything they need to put a diffuser down.
I'm really confused what G2 are doing. They're so far offside and they're going in for a plan. What is going on, G2? You're in a 5 versus 4 and it's all crumbling around you. 2 massive kills for Nest fly through, and they might have just done enough here, Liquid, despite the numbers disadvantage, to crush G2 in what will prove to be the last round. Nest, a massive 3K. Virtue got it all to do with 30 seconds on the clock and 3 members left alive. We all know what these situations can be like. Nigh on impossible, Tim.
It's not going to be easy. Virtue just trying to seek out anything he can get. He needs about 7 seconds to disable that diffuser, but he won't even get the opportunity as Ass manages to find that final kill. And Team Liquid are your first confirmed semi-finalists here at the Siege Major in Charlotte.
And of course, in that very last round, Nest could be the one finding a 3K and dashing G2 dreams all over the floor. We saw some promise in those first 10 rounds on this map. Tim really thought we'd be seeing a third, but Liquid, just too much for G2 to manage.
It was. The fight back from them was unbelievable, and then the final round there, they were able to come back from a 4v5 to get the job done. No matter what was placed in front of them, Team Liquid had the answers, and they are the ones who take the prize and move on to tomorrow.
Well, 5 rounds in a row as well.
Yeah.
Again, that momentum just builds and builds, and it can be so difficult to shut the other side down. But all is fair in love and war, and for these boys on stage, obviously, saying well played to each other is critical to the sportsmanship that we embrace here at or in Rainbow Six Siege.
Absolutely. There's going to be celebrations, I think, on the side of Team Liquid afterwards. They're going to be very happy with their progress coming in here as tournament favourites, or one of them at least, to see them through to the final 4. All smiles there. No surprises whatsoever as they continue that journey towards a potential first major.
Oh, what a first quarter we've had, Tim. It might not have been all 3 maps, but you've seen, kingmakers in a way. Everyone's been talking since the start of this competition that Liquid could be the ones to go on and win it all. There were a couple of doubts after their group stage, but with a performance like that, a clean 2-0 on Theme Park as well, G2's map pick, they're really showing what they're all about.
That's the thing. It's not just about the fact that they've won, it's the fashion that they've done it in. They looked for everybody's money like they were beaten on Clubhouse, and then somehow, and if you remember, Des, I've said it a few times, you've got to be able to win those games if you want to win a tournament, and this is exactly what I'm talking about now. Liquid had a chance there of going to the 3rd map. Who knows what happens there? But no, able to dig in, win it there and then, and that's the sort of result that's going to push them on to a potential final.
Even with Palu going like 1-9, it's absolutely crazy. easy. Now, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get a winner's interview. Don't go anywhere. See you in a few.
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six Charlotte Major. We are one quarterfinal done and dusted. Team Liquid send G2 packing to progress to the semi-finals. I'm here with Paulu. What a performance. You get it done in 2 maps. It looked like you were in a lot of trouble there on that second one, but you managed to bring it back. How much strength and mental determination did that take?
Well, for real, like, same for myself, like I wasn't on the game for all, like I was 1-9 I think, so I was struggling a lot, but we could like figure things out. We were struggling because they did a lot of counters, they were rushing a lot, making some plays, but we could like read the game, and after the Yugoslavia paused the game, we could speak to each other better, so we kind of figure out what we need to do, and that's it, basically.
How much has your guys' like mentality changed since the Invitational? Because you're starting to look like a completely different team.
Yeah, like we are right now with 80 months with this roster, maybe a couple more, I'm not sure, but we are working trying to be unpredictable. So we have the 2 games like being sometimes more solid, playing some strategies more slow, but we have also like an adaptive game, more fast paces, so we can switch to it between the games, and things can get lost when we are doing it.
So obviously you've got your new coach in place, Hugs Order, who's just standing over there. What sort of a difference has he made, and what sort of changes are you guys experiencing?
He's helping a lot. He and Cunha are doing like an amazing job. They aren't sleeping like for nights, like they are doing a lot of studs. Yeah. So they always try to bring a lot of different plays. They help with Uguzard especially, he helped us a lot when we were trying to be more aggressive. He tried a new vision for us, like we were screaming a lot and trying it. At the first we were struggling, but right now I think we can mix both games, as I said, and that's it.
I mean, you're the first interview that we've had since reintroducing this amazing live crowd. Everybody all right, by the way? Everybody having a good time? Seems like they are. How does it feel for you to be back in front of a live crowd?
Oh, it's amazing. Like we played Brasileirão finals last year against an IP, and like there's no other feeling. It's amazing seeing the people like cheering and just, it's great.
I can tell. I can hear it in your voice. Who do you want in the semi-final?
It doesn't matter. Whoever we are facing, we're gonna beat them.
There's a lot of momentum behind you guys. Just briefly, last question: do you genuinely, amongst this team, when you're away from the cameras and you're sitting down relaxing, do you believe you can do this? Is this your major?
For sure. Like we are in our best shape right now, and we are going to do it.
Okay. Well, congratulations. You guys go and celebrate. I will see you very soon. And listen, G2 commiserations. Team Liquid make it through to the semifinals. Back to you on the desk, Doa.
All right. Thank you very much, Ian. Wow, Team Liquid Not even needing the full squad to close it out in the end. That actually is what blows my mind, right? I mean, this team was so clutch, and that's really what it came down to. When a map is that close, it's going to be the clutch moments that define it, and doesn't get much more clutch than what we saw at the end, huh?
They weren't going to get that rehouse, and they said, okay, fine, we'll do it without it.
Win
They
it anyway.
managed to completely come back, clutch that. They lost their Thatcher right at the start of that round, and it even wasn't just like losing him, but the fact that they had to like stop for a moment to be like, oh, this is bad, because it's such an important round, right? They really did stall for a second. They had to refigure out what they were going to do. Eventually, Nesk saves it for them, goes to offer a huge 3K there in that round. It's a beautifully done execution on a really interesting setup from G2, but I mean, that's the determination, right? That's the grit for Team Liquid. G2 almost had this in the bag, match point for many of those rounds, but couldn't close it.
It shows the sign of a champion team, that when the chips are down and the cards are against you and you've just got to find a way to win, you've got Next walking in, being the man, getting that 3K to get it over the line. And I want to talk about what I believe won this game. And it was defensive aggression. And I believe it didn't come until round 13. The first round of overtime, Team Liquid, the defending Church, they finally get out on the roam. They finally get aggressive, get in G2's faces, get a man advantage, and win the round out from there, because that was a very attacker-sided Clubhouse where the defenders weren't trying to be the ones that were taking the fight to the attackers. The attacking, I think all but one round, got the opening pick.
Yeah.
So it really was, and it was like Liquid, they flicked a switch and said, we've got to overtime, we need to find a way to win. And on that defensive round, they thought, screw this, we're going to get aggressive. They got aggressive in G2's face, and they got that round win. And then, like you say, that very last round where, you know, the chips are against them, they found a way to win there as well.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, too. Like, you go back to a lot of those church holds, especially coming out from Liquid, the very first round, the fact they're not roaming at all. I think a site hold is okay, but just in this meta, sometimes you really do feel like you need to get out there, get aggressive early.
You know, as we look at the stats here after that map, you can see that obviously G2 put on a good performance too. Citizen had a pretty great map, and they certainly made TL work for it. And it was after the way that G2 kind of played map 1 a little bit on the slow side. It really felt like they came alive in map 2, even though in the end it wasn't quite enough.
I think G2 actually played it very well, particularly on the attack. So they had a game against Heroic in a UL where it was such a defender-sided Clubhouse, nobody wanted to go out and attack. And G2 came out the blocks and gets 5 attacks, 3 plants, and they were explosive. It was like, G2, they're a learning team. I said this because they're still new as a team, and I will still give them that concession.
Sure.
They're learning constantly. Their attacks significantly improved from the last time we saw Clubhouse, and it was that 3-2-1 go moment. They were all going, and we saw, Doki getting those big entries. They were getting in and overwhelming the defense, but then it got back onto their defense, and it felt like they'd regressed from that game against Heroic. So they're a very hard team to read.
Well, let's take a look at one of those attacks in particular. This was going to come from round number 6, and we're going to specialize on what G2 tried to do. It was unique. It was cool. Didn't end up working out in the end, but it was a flash of brilliance, maybe a sign of things to come.
Listen, I thought this was a cool push, and Fresh, maybe you have your doubts on it, but this is an attack onto the church bomb site where they're coming down and they're going to rock it with like a Ying and Osa, and I want to just kind of focus what everybody's doing here. So Citizen, the Finka, just trying to get those kills, obviously fell early in the round. Prana wants to come down main stairs, go through Ash Wall, and then put that shield up and plant right where he is now inside of Armory. You have the Buck for the walls. The Ace was able to open up Moto Hatch and then made that rotate for Prano to get in. That death right there, did you catch it? Alamau, middle of the hallway. Why is nobody up in kitchen to cover this push from Ask, who just walks through the bomb site, despite having a Buck, despite having a lot of those holes up, destroyed above you? We don't see Alamau in that position, and that's the one, we don't see the Buck in that position. And that's the one thing that I really thought could have turned that around for him, that could have made it work. If he's covering from the top floor, then they can stop all of that. But unfortunately, he's in the middle of hallway, no cover at all. He goes down. The Ying push in the back through blue as well, not finding anything. It means they can't put that pinching pressure on. I thought it was a cool idea. I think it could work.
G2's problem is that they've been known for these cool ideas, but the poor execution of them. And I think Ness getting the kill onto the Ying we highlighted was a big play. Yeah. And the fact realistically is that they sacrificed hard breach to try and make this play work. They can't get the hatches open. They can't cover the guy in Armory. And ultimately it fell apart. It was a nice idea, but when you was on top, it was 4-1 at that point. Surely you just do the attack you've already done. You make it 5-1. You put Liquid under pressure. Yeah, you'd have won this game.
So to put a cap on it, I mean, G2 kind of performing, I would say, above a lot of people's expectations for a squad that's still, trying to find that synergy, trying to find a little bit of that team play. Again, kind of making Team Liquid really go to the limit. to get that spot in the semifinals. Let's take a look at our bracket now that we have one of our matches done for the day. You can kind of guess what it looks like. It's not a big mystery. Team Liquid moves on G2. Unfortunately, they are done here at the Charlotte Major, but an impressive performance nonetheless. You know what this means? This means that we're gonna start talking about our next match. NA taking the stage. Dark Zero versus Team 1 coming up next. We're gonna talk about a lot of that when we get up to it, but quick preview before we go to break. Expectations?
I expect Dark Zero to bring an army of fans. They're going to have a lot of support
I think we heard
in
them
this
already,
next game. I think we've already heard them, we've already seen them, and I think that might well help them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor. Dark Zero coming through here on the home soil. We haven't seen an NA team yet. I mean, G2, there was a lot of fans. They were chanting. Liquid had some fans, but it's about to get really loud in here.
I mean, that's we're saying. We're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. North America is about to take the stage. Do not go anywhere. Dark Zero taking on Team 1 when we come back.